welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 234. I'm
Yeah,
Dave
man.
Z, and this is
And I'm
Christian.
Christian.
What's up?
How's it going, Dave? You sound sick.
Yeah, I'm sure I sound like shit. I know I look like shit, and but we had to get the show out, and this is what we do. But yeah, I'm sick. As a matter of fact, if I don't feel better by tomorrow, because I started feeling sick Tuesday. Today's Sunday, So, and I keep thinking that I have it licked, and then no, now it's my ear starting to hurt again, and I'm getting more of a cough and more of this. So, I always think I'm getting better, and then it's coming back. So, I
Well,
might have to
nighttime's
go to
always
the.
worse. That's the problem. We
I've
started
been bad all
recording the
day today,
show.
though.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. And I don't know if it's
Yeah.
been. I'm assuming you've gotten the kind of warm weather that we had, so maybe it's allergies too, combined with sickness.
Well, I was
A double
treating it
whammy.
as it was. Well, here's what I thought it was. Well, because here's what happened. I went out. My friend was in town from Vegas, and my one of my longest friends ever, 40 plus years, and so a bunch of us got together, and I've known everybody, all these guys for 30, 40 years. We've been friends forever. So he came, he just was coming in quickly just to see his father.
Was it Gary
Just a
Sullivan?
No, it was not Gary Sullivan. Although Gary Sullivan is a local. He is an NT guy. I could have bumped into him when I was out. What makes you
I,
bring up Gary Sullivan?
because he
Ah.
every time you come back on social media, he just seems to be there ready to respond to you.
Yeah, he's
Are
my
you friends
homie.
with them? Oh, you are
We
friends.
well, we've been friends since junior high, yeah. And
Oh, okay. I thought
yeah.
he was a dick, but maybe that's why I guess he feels like he could
Well,
talk to you like a friend.
if he didn't know you, I could see how he would be a dick. But the funny thing is this. That's only fucking that goes to the whole social media. Social media is such a farce to how people are in real life. Like when I bump into Gary Sullivan, last time I saw him was at my buddy Plant's what do you call it? Wedding and what do you call it?
Well, the guy's
The night.
fucking implant. What is he?
Yeah, I just saw him. See Rob Plant. He's one of my best friends
Yeah,
I've known forever. Rob Plant, like Robert Plant, like the Led
yeah,
Zeppelin. So
yeah. I
anyway,
have.
everyone,
That's
he's Plant. All right, so but he went to junior high with Plant, and I didn't. We didn't meet till high school, or either way, I can't remember shit. But so Sullivan was at Plant's what's that thing called? Like the stag party. And I'm not sure if he was at the wedding or not. And then every time we bump into each other, we talk about music and this and that, and then we never talk about anything. There's no any discrepancy, or there's no serious talk. It's just talking about the good old times and this and that. That's just how it is. And I was having this discussion while I was out last week, because I was out Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night.
yeah.
I was
Now
out
you
all
wonder why
last
you're
week.
sick.
But right, this is what happens. See what happens when I leave the house, and I don't leave the house. This is what I get.
Well,
But
that's
I went
because
out.
you haven't left the house, man. You're building your immune system back up.
Well,
That's
I'll tell you, it's bad, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know, who knows. But I don't
well,
see. There
because
goes
if you
my
have
brain
Gary's
again.
cock in your mouth for fucking hours, you're bound to get something.
Oh man, what were we saying? All I know is
Oh,
this.
yeah, I interrupted.
Um, no, I just can't remember anything, so don't worry. I was out, and I was talking to a friend of mine. We were all together. I mean, there was a bunch of us, and staying out till 4 a.m. and this, and going to the breakfast in the morning and everything, and just a bunch of us getting together, which I don't do anything, but I had no choice but to do this. And the thing is, I only went to the places that I've gone to all my life. So it's a place where I can actually be comfortable and stay in the back and have my crew there and just be there, and that be it. But I mean, the wives know each other, so everybody comes out. You know what I mean? So it's like a big thing. It's out of control. I got pictures of like 30 of us together. So it's all people that have known each other for years and years and years. So, but we were talking about it the one night we were out, and my one friend John, who's also one of my oldest friends, and we were talking about the subject came up about something, and he said something about a political type thing, and I said, yeah, I'm not interested, and blah blah blah. And then he goes, and I told him, my feelings on everything, and he basically said, he goes, this is it. He goes, this is the difference though, and it made me think. But he's like, what you are picturing people on both sides of the fence to be, that's only the way they are online. He goes, I guarantee you, if you and I walked around and we started talking politics to 20 people in here, 16 of them would be on the level. They would be able to talk about it and be logical. And you probably only have like four of the extremists. I go, maybe you're right, but my only link to the world is what I've ever seen on social media. So I think there is something to be said there that people they're this, and this on socials, but when you talk to them in real life like a
Yeah,
human
keyboard
being, especially in a
warriors, that type of thing. Yeah, in a
yeah.
sense.
So I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean that seems to be the strongest, loudest freaking thing. And I don't want to talk about this at all. I don't even know how it came up. It's
Well,
just
I
that
brought up Gary Schultz.
okay, yeah, you brought up Gary, who will push me on things like that. See, but Gary's
Yeah.
getting crazy because he was talking about the what do you call it? Like last year's Super Bowl, not the one that just happened, but the one before when Rihanna was performing, and you know I love her. And I was putting something up and he made some type of statement about it, about freaking she's involved with the freaking the cult and they sacrifice babies and shit. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. See,
People are going nuts, man, with this stuff. Everybody's in a baby sacrificing cult all of a sudden. Typically liberals.
everything.
The Democrats are the baby sacrificers, it seems to be.
That's what it
I
is.
think,
Yeah.
anyway, I think I've got the right
So
political.
I
Anyway,
think so, because yeah,
yeah.
whatever. Bottom line is now between that, no, so now I come back on the socials just because I'm watching this WrestleMania. I'm having
But
fun.
it's
I'm
a
posting the
Republican
matches
baby
I'm
that they
seeing.
kill. So in their eyes, it's fine. It's Republican enough.
They're
It's redder.
bathing in it,
It's
right? It's redder.
it's deep red.
It is deep red. Awesome, man. Oh shit. But holy cow, I cannot wait to get off of this thing. I just came on and I am gonna put up that post because I want us to get whatchamacallits. I want us to get some ratings on our iTunes. So I'm gonna put up that contest thing on the Exploding Heads thing and say, do this and anything comes, I'll make it to the end of April. At the end of April, we'll do a prize because I got all this merch and all this other crap here that's sitting in my closet. I'll give it away. So anyway, I want to post that up. But I came on just to do that, and then like I said, wrestling was on, so I'm watching the matches and I'm just talking about them a little, having fun, But I realize anytime I look at the feed, it's like, stop it. I've already like freaking blocked two people and unfollowed like five or six, just looking at the feed, which I never should do. But people are going ape about a freaking what's that thing that's happening tomorrow? That eclipse,
Oh, the
which is happening
eclipse.
like right
The
here,
total
and I
eclipse of
couldn't
my
care,
heart. Yeah, well,
dude. I
I mean,
couldn't
it's
care
happened
less.
every if Niagara Falls is going crazy, they're
Right
going a
here,
state of emergency. My mom was
yeah.
asking me last week, goes, "Will your son, like, will Christian Jr. want to come over? We're going to a friend's house. We got the glasses. We're gonna watch." I'm like, huh. I go, I don't give a shit about the fucking eclipse. Like,
I don't
call me
either. I don't know
crazy.
why. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's only, it won't happen in our lifetime again. I go, oh, okay.
Well, here's what I want. I want to go into my backyard, not where the sun is. I just want to go in because I know the sun will face the other side, the front of the house. I just want to go on my back deck when it gets dark in the daytime and enjoy it and just say, hey, it's dark in the daytime. I don't have any, I don't want to look at the freaking thing because even if I get the glasses, I don't trust them. I'm not going to gamble on something like that at this point. I've had enough problems. I'm not
I
doing it.
I'm
I'm
celebrating
not
totally
looking.
different. I'm getting a Republican and a Democrat baby, and I'm sacrificing in my backyard right when it happens, right when it's like, high noon or whatever the fuck it's called.
High noon.
When it's the eclipse. That's it
That
right
would
now.
be
Ah,
awesome.
goosh.
Now you're
And then we'll see.
talking.
Yeah. That works.
Babies
Yeah.
in the name of politics.
Yeah.
Right before 2024, it's going to be an election year. This is how everyone's
Yeah.
been talking about sacrificing
Equal
this and who's going
opportunity.
to,
Boom.
right, kill them both. There
Yeah,
you
I don't
go.
could get
Vote,
mad
vote
because
for,
I got both sides covered.
no, nope. And then I'll have an independent baby. Okay, here you go. This is the future.
The double murder cancels each other out. So I
Oh
just
my
get to
God.
go walk away scot free. Beautifully
Yes.
orchestrated. But this is how my brain works. That's what I'm going to do during the eclipse. Actually, what I'm going to do is probably nothing. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to put. Why is it getting so dark outside? Is it night? No, it's high noon or whatever the fuck it is again.
High noon. That's great. Well, you can get high at noon. There you go. Then it can
Yeah.
really be high noon, you know? Get high at noon and go see the eclipse. I was thinking about getting some mushrooms or something for him. But anyway, I'm sick. I can't. So now I go out last week and like I said, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I saw my friend Saturday before he left. And but the thing is, I felt fine. And then Tuesday morning, I just woke up with a scratch in my throat, whatever, nose stuffy, little stuff like that. And I do what I usually do. I kind of attribute it to being in smoke because we went to the casino one night late. Only reason I went there is because I drove my friend home. Not home. He's staying at a hotel. It happened to be across from the casino. So him and I just went across the street and it's dead. It's like freaking, 2 in the morning. So let's just go in the casino and hang out for like an hour or two, have a drink, maybe pull a few slots, whatever, kick it. So we go in there and one
Well,
side
it's
is
dead at
smoking,
that
one
time.
side's not.
Typically, it's still fucking hopping. No.
Not at 2 a.m., not on like a Wednesday. You know what I mean? No. I mean, I don't know what goes on at the tables, but I was just kicking it, by the bar where the slots would be. I just go where nobody is. I can't go to a table. Even if I wanted to play table game, there's too many people. I can't be around that. And plus, on top of it, I used to work there. So I know a bunch of people there, and I don't want to see anybody I used to know because then I feel obliged to talk to them. And I'm just not comfortable talking to people right now. I just keep to myself. It's amazing I even went out at all, but I did. But now what happens? Now I start feeling shitty Tuesday, Wednesday, and I think I have it licked on Thursday, you know. And then all of a sudden, I wake up this morning. I have to go to my father's house to help him out because he has his issues, and I'm trying to go over there. And I bought him a couple things because he has the sciatica in his freaking leg, and he's using a walker now. And I'm like, I'll be damned if you're gonna slip in the tub and break your hip. Because if that happens, you're toast. He's already in trouble as is. He has an ulcer. At least they diagnosed what his problem was after 2 years, but he's lost too much weight. He's not eating enough. He's always worried about freaking what's gonna happen because he's either gonna get constipated or the other thing's gonna happen. And it's a big mess. So he's not doing so great. So I'll make sure I go there every Sunday. I go there at 10 a.m., have breakfast, we hang out till noon, my brother and I and him.
They
And
can't. Sorry for interrupting, but with it being an ulcer and knowing what it is now, they can't treat that.
he's taking pills, but it takes time. He still doesn't
Yeah.
feel good and he's
Okay.
still nervous. And he's too set in his ways to freaking it's a whole thing. I can't even get it. It's caused so much
Well,
stress.
tell him to stop eating hot wings. Does he eat spicy food still?
No, he
He
does
doesn't do
not.
anything to like aggravate it.
No, he
Like
hasn't in 2 years, man. Because this has been 2 years he's been suffering, and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And it
he
got to the point
uses
he
your
stopped
favorite
eating.
sauce. No sauce.
No
No sauce
sauce.
wings.
No wings either. No, he wouldn't eat wings. None of that stuff. But it didn't matter what he was eating, it was a problem. So now we finally got him diagnosed. He has an ulceritis and he's taking the pills and everything else. But I know he's weak. And I'm like, I'm not gonna have him slip in the tub because then he's toast. I'm not letting this happen. So I said, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get you the mat for the bath, so you don't slip. I'm gonna get and then I look in his tub. He doesn't even have a nozzle that's up here. He just has a freaking thing that's on the ground that you pick up and just shower off, like you know what I mean? So I'm like, well,
Oh,
so I go, you know what I'm gonna do? I said, okay, we'll get you one of those things you could sit down in the tub. So he's got a seat, he's got a thing, and I got him these little things that you put up against the tiles that you can grab onto as like extra thing. So I wanted to make sure he was okay. So I went there this morning and I'm putting it together, and it wasn't working right. And then something else happened. And then I just fucking maybe because I was doing something physical, I started feeling shittier like I did when I had COVID when I couldn't do anything physical. And I was like, what the fuck? I felt real hot, exhausted. I haven't had a fever. I've checked my temp the last 3 days, no temperature. But I had an earache the first day, it went away, and now it came back. So now this came back, and now this. So anyway, like I said, symptoms started Tuesday, and I thought I had it licked by Friday, and now it's Sunday and it's back. So tomorrow, if I wake up and I don't feel any better, I'm going right to the quick care. I'm going to say, listen, do what you got. It's probably too late for a COVID
do what
test
you
because
gotta
it's
do.
give me some antibiotics, whatever it takes.
They I mean it could just be a cold. Oh, good old fashioned
Could be.
cold.
It's been a
But
while though, dude.
well, yeah, I mean that's it,
It
right?
doesn't
When
usually
you don't
last
go
this
anywhere,
long,
yeah, I get it. But then you went out for a bunch of like that's the reason.
right?
It's gonna happen,
I,
especially when
I,
you've been like in your basement or at home
well, yeah.
more times than not.
True, but I thought it
But
was from the smoke, maybe because the smoke I'm allergic to. So I
well,
thought
for
maybe
yeah,
the
for one or
casino,
two,
but
one day, maybe feeling like a little
yeah,
like allergies and whatever, but I can't, not for a week. I don't think. I can't imagine.
no.
So
So now I don't know. And like they're like my wife's like, well, what's this? What if you got COVID? And I'm like, well, even if I do, it's too late. Even if they test me, I've already had it a week. It won't even show up. So I don't even know. But my wife was really tired one day. She felt crappy, but just one day, and that was it. And her and Francesca, they're fine. So I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
well,
it's not been fun. I just been laying around, and what are you gonna do? So that's that. Whatever. But we're here. We're here now. And I just
that's
so
been a
I'm watching a
crap
lot
week
of
for both of
movies.
us, then.
Right. It has been a
Holy
crappy week.
crap! Yeah,
Right.
we're recording a little bit later than we normally would, but
Indeed.
that's fine. I can't remember what we
Yeah.
can't why we canceled. Well, we were supposed to record on the weekend, and then we pushed it to Thursday, and then I couldn't do Thursday because I
That's what it
wasn't.
was.
Yeah, I had like a shit couple of days, so then we had to push it to this weekend. But I didn't realize you were sick, so I'm glad
Yeah,
you
but
were
we
still
had
able to do the show.
of course I'm gonna do. We gotta get our shows out. It's already the 7th. But it's funny because we thought we were gonna be ahead for the month if we recorded last week, and now we're behind the 8 ball. And I'm gonna be gone. I'm going to freaking Vegas on the 17th. I'm gonna be gone from the 17th to the what is it? The 22nd of
That's
April.
okay. I mean, we'll still be able to
Gone.
squeeze maybe one more out before then, and then one more right after for April. But yeah, I mean, it's I was on a roll with movies until Wednesday hit, and then I haven't really watched many other than the one we're going to review. We're actually doing a feature review, everybody, for the
Yeah.
first time. It's not going to be a long
Ma-
review, I don't think,
No,
but
it's not.
yeah, it's going to be, well, you already know because it's the poster art was on the fucking little thumbnail art that we do for the show, which is a change from the last 4 episodes or 5 episodes where it's just been Dave and I talking about slashers, which we're still going to do tonight, but we're
Oh
also going to
yeah.
talk about Frogman
Yeah.
2024
Freaking
about a French
Frogman.
Canadian. So,
Ha ha ha! But a French Canadian. Nice. Those old froggies.
oh man,
Feeling froggy? Yes. But I'll tell
but
you what.
that's
Oh,
later.
that's later. We got that. Maybe we do some of the Fango stuff we keep saying we're gonna do. We got slashers. We're gonna
Yeah.
talk about other stuff. Whatever we've been watching. Oh, you know what I wanted to bring up to you? Hold on. I wrote like two things down. Um, where the hell is it? Oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, the thing about the new blood. Isn't that weird? The freaking the ending. We didn't talk about
You
this.
don't
I
remember?
didn't know about this
I think we talked about it.
when we
I
did our
thought we
show,
talked
and I'm
about it on
like,
the show, but because it's a
well,
feature on those on the special editions.
what?
Yeah,
Really?
I'm almost now you're making me
I'm
second
a
guess myself,
goner,
but I'm
man.
almost positive it's a feature. Dave's talking about the ending that you hear them talk about that's not in the actual New Blood movie. Friday the 13th 7, of course, which is that ending where there's the fisherman and he's reeling in a fish, or yeah, and he keeps going, he
Yeah.
keeps going, and he keeps going, and it's cut from all these different angles, like we're in the fucking psycho shower scene or whatever. And then you think he's gonna pull Jason up, which actually would have been funny, but he pulls up a
Right.
fish, which is
Right.
great. But then the fish comes in, he's going to catch it, and then Jason comes, jumps up, and pulls it back, and whatever. And I think the
Yeah.
reason they cut it is because you don't really get the good shot of Jason coming up and grabbing him, but it's because they
No.
edit. They should have tightened up that editing. It's still, I
Yeah.
think that editing is better than
Oh
the El
yeah,
Cheapo
dude.
ending that they have in the movie, where it's just like the
Yeah.
ambulance driving away and then fade out and then really cheap music final credits. That would have been a good
Yeah.
little capper on the end, since we always know evil never dies and Jason's still out there
Yeah.
for sure. But I mean, it needed a better stinger. I'm sure it wasn't fully complete with the sound effects and
Yeah.
final glossy spit polish. But ultimately, yeah, I think that's the reason they cut it, because you see like a bit pulled back, but I don't really think you get a good glimpse of Jason. They should have done it more part one style, like when Ari Lehman pumped up with a guitar.
Right. A guitar, huh?
Or guitar, whatever the fuck it is.
What do you mean he had a
First
guitar?
Jason. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Is that
because
what he
he's
played?
playing music. Oh, he plays all different instruments. You're right. That he might have been with a guitar. You're right. I get you. Sorry. First
But
Jason. Oh,
first Jason. But I
oh
like it.
man.
It just is the timing was a bit off, like because they do the good fake out where you're like, oh, he's reeling in Jason. It's a good setup because it keeps going and going and going, and then it's just a fish. But the fish should have popped in. He should have looked down, and then Jason should have popped up. There seems to have been like
Yes.
too many more beats in between
Yes.
before Jason comes up after. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I'm sure if we didn't talk about, I'm sure it was mentioned off the cuff, but maybe not when we did our
Maybe I'm just
massive retro.
maybe I'm just gone. I mean, I am. So I mean, maybe I completely forgot, but it's unusual. I forget something that big, an alternate end to a Friday the 13th. I just don't recall seeing that at all. Jason jump out of the water and grab the fisherman. I don't know. It's weird. I just wish they would have left it in, but not that. Not like you said, not that exact scene. They spent more time on the fish than they did
Yeah,
on Jason.
yeah,
You get 6 angles of a fish, but you get one angle of Jason. So I
yeah.
mean, what sense does that make?
It's
I don't know
crazy.
what the hell. It is crazy. But that would have been cool because it's old school. It's like the first couple movies with that thing at the end. Why not?
What should have happened is Jason should have grabbed the fisherman and started pulling him back, and then Tina's dad should have come up and grabbed Jason, and all three of them go back.
Could you imagine that? All three of them.
Fucking Tina's dad. I think I'm off the
Oh my
charts here.
gosh.
Check, check.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh
I would have
man,
fucking
Tina's
great.
dad.
I got a light here, but every now and then it's like bright red.
Oh man, that would be great. Oh
Well,
shoot.
the other thing about the Tina dad ending, it's just stupid. Like
Oh,
I
it's
always make the joke, like
awful.
nobody ever gets pulled out of that lake. They just we'll just leave him in there. It's better left on. Like who's gonna? There would have been a whole search and rescue. Like I mean, even after that, like the cops came, the fire department was there. They're just gonna leave him in there. No, they're gonna go look for him.
They should have addressed it. Maybe you know what they should have said. Remember how in the beginning in part one, how they said, there was fires, the water was poisoned, all these things. Every time they tried to open the can, there was an issue. Somebody should have said one of the things that happened instead of the water being poisoned. They should have said someone put piranha on the water, and they live, so you can't go swimming in that water
You
anymore. And
can't go
maybe
see.
that could explain it. That's what would you? Nobody will go in that water if there was piranhas in it.
I don't think
Piranhas.
anybody would believe it. Piranha. No one would believe it. That's the thing.
Well,
But it could be a
yeah,
good
that's true.
tie-in sequel for Piranha 3. Piranha versus Jason.
See, that would be it. That's something I want to see. People are talking about wanting to see. People are posting about. I want to see. What the hell are they talking about? Chucky versus Leprechaun, or Chucky versus Freddy, or Chucky versus Annabelle. I don't know. There's some talk going on, and it's all ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I don't. Well, to me, I mean, that's just. I don't like versus movies anyway. But if you're gonna make a versus movie, come on. How is Chucky gonna fight Freddy?
Well, there's that
That's
new
ridiculous.
Godzilla versus Kong or Kong versus
Well, they're
Godzilla. Again,
supposed to fight.
no
Fine.
interest to see that one based off the last one, but I'll check it out down the road. But
Yeah, I don't mind.
ah,
But there's too many horror movies out now. If I'm gonna go to the movies, which I'm not, but there's 3 movies right now I want to see. I mean, the movie that I was looking forward to, well, the 2 movies I was looking forward to the most. Maxine, of course, but it's not out yet. But the other was Late Night with the Devil, and that came out, and Immaculate came out, and people are liking that one. And then what else just came
the
out?
first Omen.
Something, The First Omen, and people are
Eh,
liking that too.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm hearing good things about all 3 of these films. I'm like, that's good. Who would have thought that? All of a sudden, boom, because there hasn't been a
Boom,
whole lot
bam,
going
bing.
on,
Yeah, we had
you know?
Imaginary before that, which has gotten some mixed reviews. Typically, right out of the gate, it was getting some hate, and then I
Yeah.
started seeing. I think Gary Hill gave it a bit of love. Just said it
Yeah.
wasn't saying it was great. He just said it was. I think that's the thing when you're going with shit. Like my expectations are shot to shit now. So when I watch it, I'll probably like it,
Well, yeah. Maybe. I mean,
or
I
maybe
don't know.
not.
I mean,
We'll see.
I,
Night
I
Swim
kind
came
of
out.
want to
That got
watch it.
shit on as well. So, like there's Night Kill or Night Swim. Did I say Night Kill? Night
Yeah.
Swim,
People don't like
Imaginary,
it. Right.
and the three that you just mentioned. So there's five that I got to check out now.
And plus whatever else has come out, because I've only watched a couple, but I have a couple on my list. As a matter of fact, I'm going to look at this list I have on Letterboxd because, and speaking of Letterboxd Letterboxd licks. The slasher one, I now have it all the way up to 193 films. 7 more to go for an even 200. I've been
Oh,
adding.
you're,
I've
I
been
thought you meant you've
researching.
watched. I was like, holy
No,
shit.
no, but I'm getting close to 100. But
That's
so,
awesome.
but still, yeah. But I've added. I'll tell you what I've added just for fun on the slasher list. What have I added recently? Twisted Nightmare, Savage Weekend. Well, I watched that today. Actually, I'll get to that later. The horror show, Ghost Dance, Amsterdam, Cut, just CUT from the 2000. This
Yeah.
McCall movie, which 1994, long though. I think it's a what do you
This is
call it?
what
I
you
think it's the
added,
one
or
that
this is the ones you watched?
I didn't watch them. I added them to the
Okay.
list though. The Boogeyman because it may or may not be, even though I just watched it last year for the 1980 show for 22 shots. I can't remember if I consider it a slasher or not. The one from the 80, the Uli Lomeli, whatever the hell his
Yeah.
name is. Um, House of Wax I put on there. Somehow it wasn't on there. 555 I put on there. High Tension wasn't on there for some reason. The Conference I put out there, and Girl School Screamer 1986. The
Oh,
Undertaker 1988. Strange Behavior. So there's been
oh,
more.
Strange
I've been adding more.
Behavior. I didn't remember that being a slasher, but I know that some people do consider it that, so I'd have to watch that again too.
Well, when the teenagers in a small Illinois town start getting murdered, the police chief makes a connection to the mysterious scientific experiments being done at the local university and must stop them before his own son is dragged into the deadly scheme. So teenagers are being murdered. I don't know. I'm sure I looked it up and decided for a reason because I kind of do research and a lot of times I just look at a lot of the reviews and if people keep saying slasher, then I put it in, So
What if they say
that's kind
Beetlejuice,
of
Beetlejuice?
oh god, ridiculous, just ridiculous. Beetlejuice. I'm
I'm sorry,
whatever.
everybody. Everyone's like, no, well, Christian,
So
don't bring it up again.
why did I want to look at this list? What did I? Oh yeah. I have a watch list for this year. So Punch, that's probably just it's getting ridiculous, but I'll watch it just because of what Jay and Watson were telling me about a Punch and Judy freaking doll that kills or something. Um, De- Departing Seniors. Have you heard about this one?
No, I haven't.
No? 2020, well, it says 2023, but it's new. Graduation's a killer. After an act of bullying sends Javier to the hospital, he begins experiencing visions that foresee glimpses of shocking murders at his school right before they happen. Now, in between navigating the social hierarchies and prejudices of clique culture, Javier and his friend Bianca must try to unmask a serial killer before he strikes again. It's a 3.2 on the
It's called
freaking on
Departing
Letterboxd.
Teenagers.
Departing Seniors.
Oh, see,
Yeah, Departing
seniors.
Teenagers. What's this one? Double Blind 2023. So this is still
What?
it's a newer one though, but it's called
When you
Double
say
Blind. It's
2023, it still was
it's
released in
new.
2024. Yeah.
It's new. Yeah. After an experimental drug trial goes awry, the test subjects face a terrifying side effect. If you fall asleep, you die. Trapped in an isolated facility, panic ensues as they try to escape and somehow stay awake. Weird, huh? But it's about staying awake. 2.9 on the B, so that's not bad on the B on the letterbox. Stop motion. I heard a lot of good about it, so I want to
Oh
watch that,
yeah.
but I haven't yet.
Oh yeah. Billy
So
D, I think saw that in the theater. I think he did a podcast on it.
really,
Yeah.
shit, I didn't know that. I gotta listen. Okay. This one's called Here for Blood. It was made in 2022, but I don't think it came out till this year or something. So a rowdy pro wrestler struggling to make ends meet agrees to fill in as a last minute replacement for his girlfriend's well paying babysitting job.
Oh,
Da, da.
there's that other new one that I don't know if it's come out yet. Abigail, is that out?
Oh, I saw that one. Abigail's Children. I saw that one. That's one that I watched.
I thought it was just Abigail.
Yeah. Maybe there's two different movies then.
No, it's a new movie from
Oh,
2024, Abigail, where they get invited to a house and you find out that um, she's not what she seems.
yeah, that's it. That's the one. Abigail's Children, it's called. I watched it this year. Hold on.
Oh,
But there is an Abigail. Wait a minute. I'm losing my mind.
yeah,
After a group of. Wait a minute. Coming soon.
yeah.
Yeah, theater April 19th. You're right. But wait a minute. I'm telling you. Okay, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Because I have 2024. This is all I've watched. Oh, not Abigail, Amelia. Amelia's Children was the movie I watched. Close enough.
Abigail,
Abigail.
Amelia, yeah.
Yeah. Because this is all I watched this year so far. Blackwell Ghost 8, Amelia's Children, Life of Belle, and Frogman. That's it. 4 movies. But yeah, what else did I have on this list? Laced 2023. It's not even out yet. So I because only 2 people have watched it, but it's on my watch list. It's called Laced. In an unprecedented snowstorm, a wife plans to kill her abusive husband begins to unravel. Okay. Infested. Yeah, this one I think is on Netflix. I could be wrong though, but it's French. It's called Reminds or something. Residents of a rundown French apartment building battle against an army of deadly, rapidly reproducing spiders. It's called
Oh,
Infested.
cool.
Yeah, only one person has seen it. So reviews, but 4,000 reviews. So I don't understand this.
They got to release,
Showtimes and tickets, no screens near you. So I don't know what the deal is.
yeah, limited release or released overseas.
Yeah, I don't know. What about Play Dead? Is that from last year?
Oh, I don't know. Without seeing, I know there's a
It don't
bunch.
matter.
I'm not hooked up to anything other than this for internet right now because I don't want it to fuck up my
That's
connection.
okay.
So I've shut everything down. I took a screenshot of the movies I watched so that I didn't have to worry about logging onto it after. I
Okay.
watched
Well, what'd you say?
uh I watched 19 movies since the
Oh, this
last
is
time we recorded.
good.
No,
We'll have a
no,
lot to talk.
no, I mean,
Excuse me.
one of them's a thriller, one of them's not a horror movie at all, but everything else was a horror movie. And then I started watching that I watched Shogun. Watched the first 2 episodes of that.
I don't know
Fucking
what that is.
looks amazing. It's a new show. New, it's not so new. I guess it came out a couple months ago or in February or whatever, but it looks beautiful. And then Ripley, which is a new version of the talented Mr. Ripley, and we've watched the first 2 episodes of
What?
that. And that's good. It's filmed in black and white, and the cinematography in it is amazing. So we had actually tried when we put on Shogun. I'm like, oh, there's a new show that comes out. It keeps coming up on my feed with Colin Farrell. It's called like Sugar or something. We should check it out. It's on Apple TV. So we watched a couple nights ago 2 episodes of Shogun, and last night we put on Sugar. We lasted like 15 minutes. We're like, get this off the fucking screen. The story might be intriguing, but who can get through the fucking camera work? The way it's shot was pissing us off. It was the worst camera angles, the worst camera shots. You know, like shaky cam
Wow.
for no reason. Bad angles, like they're breaking the the axis and whatever, but for no reason whatsoever. And it was just distracting and taken away from anything from the story. So we never gave it 15 minutes and we're out. Right, this is so fucking annoying. Let's turn it off. So we ended up putting
Wow.
on Ripley, and within 1 minute, I was hooked. I'm like, yes, look at this. Look at how these shots are like constructed, like beautiful, 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 beautiful. We
Nice.
watched the first 2 episodes of that, and we're in. So
Black and white though? Why?
yeah,
Man.
black and white, your favorite.
Yeah, I just don't see a need for it, but I don't know. I mean, I like movies that have been black and white, newer ones. So I mean, I just prefer a show. I don't want to see a show in black and white, hours and hours of it, you know?
Yeah,
But
eight
Ripley, like that,
eight
I loved that
episodes.
movie.
Well, yeah, and I really enjoyed that movie too. So it would be interesting to see your take because it's yeah, of course everything's there, but it's a so the casting is so different, but it works completely. Like I'm enjoying it like beyond the technical aspect. Like the act, and it's
Seems.
Dakota Fanning is the girl that I guess the Gwyneth Paltrow girl, and I
Oh,
wasn't sure because as a child actor, I wasn't a huge fan of hers, but she was great fine in this. Doesn't have really to
yeah.
do too much, but she's fine in this so far.
Nice. I like Ellie because she's in, what do you call it?
Yeah,
Neon Demon. That would have been
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Um, so, but Ripley, is it the same story? Is it a prequel? Is it the Further
Nope, same
Adventures?
story. The Further Adventures. No,
Wow.
it's the same story, but it takes it. So the first two episodes, he's established like he's gotten the like we follow him. Like I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you watch the movie, doesn't it start in Italy? I
Oh,
couldn't
where
remember
is
either.
he?
I know I couldn't remember either, but I thought that's where it started there. Whereas this
No,
one
no, no,
starts with
no, no,
him
no.
home
It does
in New
not.
York.
Yes, it starts in New York. That's where he sees the guy's father, and then he says, "I
Okay,
want to
so
send you to
then
Italy because my son's
yeah,
there
okay,
to
so
check on him."
it follows the same story trajectory then as well. I for whatever reason I thought that was told in flashback in the movie, but I hadn't watched the movie in
Okay.
ages. But yeah, so yeah, it spends the first episode I think establishes him getting there, and then he's in Italy, and then the second one now he's gaining trust, and yeah, it's well done.
Now, does Tom Ripley have a sexual orientation in this at all?
They talk about it, but he doesn't. Um, Acknowledge it. Like he makes a weird comment about it. I like girls, and it's like you could tell that the other guy, the other dude, the Jude Law character. I can't remember his name for the life of me right now, but his character's name. He doesn't really believe him, and then
Okay.
later on they bring up the fact that they think he's gay.
Okay, so it does come into it because
Yeah,
that's what happens in the movie. You
yeah.
kind of like figure like he kind of begins like what appears to be a homosexual relationship with the other guy in like the third act of the movie. But building
Seymour
up to that,
Hoffman. Is it Seymour Hoffman?
that might be. No, no,
Yeah,
no, 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 no. No. Philip Seymour Hoffman was the other guy who was friends with Jude Law, who didn't
yeah,
like. I
yeah.
forgot who the other guy is that he begins a relationship with. It's someone good because he kills him at the end of the movie, or it's
I think it's
implied.
it's Gary Sullivan,
Yeah, it's Gary Sullivan. He's actually gay. We'll get a kick out of that.
but he's gay.
Good God. Ugh. So, okay, man, I might have to watch that movie or that show, Ripley. I'll look it into it. Damn.
Oh, the
Okay.
shots are great. So like the opening shot looked
Yeah.
like it was right out of film noir. So I was already in. And then the
Nice.
cinematography gets a little less of that really shadowy look, but it was a great setup. And then it's just really well done. Uh I again haven't finished the show yet. Fully recommend it.
Right on.
So
No,
far
that's
anyway.
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. You know what I was watching besides movie, and I see I was watching slasher. Like, man, I got so ahead of it that last time we had to stop. I had like another 10 or 12. I'm like, well, I'm way ahead of the game, and something happened. I took a little bit of break, and I've been watching these two shows like mad. And I think they both air on Investigation Discovery ID. I think they do, but I can't recall. But I'm going back and forth with them. One of them is called Fear Thy Neighbor, and the other one is called um oh
I'm right.
shoot, Living with Evil. Wait a minute, no, Evil Lives Here. Evil Lives Here and Fear Thy Neighbor. I am hooked on these two shows. I'm just going back and forth. I watch one episode of one and one episode of the other. And okay, I'll tell you what they are. It's Evil Lives Here is basically someone that has lived with someone else that has done evil, killed people. They're all put away, and it's
Well,
different people. A couple
so the
are just
title
like
doesn't lie.
average. No, it doesn't lie. A couple are just small time things where they killed like a few women or raped a few women and did it. But some other ones are big
Sorry.
time.
I'm not laughing at just just some small type things. It wasn't like any big deal. Just raped and killed a few
Well,
women.
well, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of regular thing, but and those are kind of just like, okay, he was mean to his wife, he did this, there was some signs, and then he would go off at night sometimes, and they found out later that he was killing people, and that's fine. It's an interesting story and everything else, but there are other ones that are like legit serial killers and like some spree killers and some other stuff, and like they raised them from they were a kid, or they're sometimes it's brothers and sisters, and sometimes it's other stuff. One of them actually was one of the people that it was so sad. It was a parents raising a child, and right from birth there was a problem. And this kid ended up being a freaking he went into a mall or a school and he freaking killed a bunch of people and freaking killed himself, like an actual school or church or whatever, those shooters. And then another one was you know about Warren Jeffs, right? That the prophet, the freaking from the LDS, from the Latter Day Saints, the fundamentalist one.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. Yeah, not I don't know the ins and outs, but yeah, now that you've explained
oh,
who he is, yeah.
you should watch all that stuff on him. He's like the worst of all. But anyway, Warren Jeff, this is his brother, Wallace Jeffs. So he lived with them all his life, and he was called the prophet from the beginning. He shed light on all this other stuff. But it is just such a good show, and it's just done so well. Yeah. What is it called again? When Evil Lurks, or not When Evil Lurks? That's my movie.
Evil lives here, and or
Evil Lives
fear
Here. Now,
thy
Fear Thy
neighbor.
Neighbor. Yes. I started watching Fear Thy. All this started because I was watching a show called Fear Thy Roommate, which I loved. And this is true stories about roommates, about people that were strangers that got together and what happened. And the cool thing about these shows, all of them, is that they have the reenactments. It isn't just the facts and here's pictures and these are talking heads. They have the reenactments, like watching I don't know,
Like a
freaking
reenactor. No, there used to be a show
dramatizations.
called back in the day. Every time I bring this up, everybody thinks I'm talking about Cops. No, it wasn't Cops. Cops was Cops, but there was a show called Top Cops. I think it was Canadian made, so I don't know if you guys got it, but
Oh,
it was
top
great because they would
cops.
take like supposedly real scenarios and
Uh-huh.
reenact them, and I love that stuff. But they did that's what
Yes.
most documentaries. There's a lot of documentaries that dabble in that as well. So they don't have the actual footage, or they might still have the actual footage, but they don't have enough, so
Hmm.
they recreate it. I mean, that's the way to do it.
Dude, it really adds to the story. It's great that they do it. It's kind of like Unsolved Mysteries. Remember how they would have like reenactments for that?
Yeah,
Something like that.
that would have been a
So
better example that I could have brought up.
Top Cop, it sounds so Canadian too, because all the things in Canada all rhyme or they all say things twice, or like pizza, 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 video, 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 all the other ones we talked about. Top
Beetlejuice,
Cops. Let's see, that
Beetlejuice.
does sound very Canadian. 1990. Police officers throughout North America. Oh, I don't know. Is it Canadian? Let's see. Well, I will tell you the other one is Canadian. Country, United States. Filming
Oh,
location, Toronto, Ontario,
yeah, yeah,
Canada.
yeah. There we
There
go.
you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's the same thing with Fear Thy Neighbor. Like I started Fear Thy Roommate, it was only like one season. I wish there was more because that's actually better than Fear Thy Neighbor, I think, because you're actually living with them. I don't know. But Fear Thy Neighbor is really cool. And it's just, it talks about neighbors that moved in and squabbles that always end up in someone getting killed. And there's dramatization. And that show is, you could tell it's filmed in Canada. It seems them very Canadian. And the only problem I have with Fear Thy Neighbor is they put spoilers throughout the whole thing. Like they kind of like flash forward. They give you the little bits of what's going to happen later. And it'll be in red, so you know it's coming. So I just look down, or I mute it because I don't want to see it. I want to see the shit in order. Imagine if you're watching.
Oh, it's like when they at the beginning of the movie when you're going to go see whatever it may be, you're going to go see Abigail, and they decide to put the featurette right before the movie or something like that. You're like, what the fuck? I'm here to see the movie. I don't want to
Right.
see extended behind the scenes shit. I want to see the movie first.
Like imagine
Sons of
going to see
bitch.
Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and it's a show, and every time they go to commercial, when they come back or right before they go to commercial, they go, but it only got worse or something. And next thing you know, the next scene is freaking,
Tommy
Jason
chopping his
getting the
mask
machete
off.
to the head.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. I want to see it spill out in real time. I don't want to be spoiled on it. I don't want to know who the asshole is because sometimes you can't tell because there's two neighbors bickering and sometimes they're both assholes. But I want to know I'd rather see it in real time as to who's going to be the aggressor and actually commit the crime. I don't want it to, you know what I mean? I can't stand that they do that. Do people really love being spoiled that way? What's the fun of watching it then? But anyway, that's my only complaint. But damn, great show. And I come to the conclusion that if these three things didn't exist, this show couldn't exist because 90% of the time on these shows, this is the result of dogs, leaf blowers, and guns. If those things didn't exist, none of these murders would happen. And I'm telling you, watch the show and you'll see. Because the dogs and the leaf blowers always lead to freaking the beginning of the squabbles. Small little things like that. And then it always ends with somebody shooting somebody else. I'm like, man, if we
With a
didn't have
leaf
those
blower,
three things,
they
yeah,
stick a dog in a
leaf
leaf
blower.
blower. There's
Yeah, together. I want to see him leaf blow a dog. That'd be something.
yeah.
And then the dog came on this guy, and this guy got his leaf blower, and he leaf blew the dog.
Blew the hair
But
right
they
off the fucker.
the dog is usually an accident. The dog runs over to someone's thing and someone gets mad about it or something, or maybe the dog shit on the grass, whatever. But then later on, somebody always conveniently uses a leaf blower at a time when the neighbors are having like freaking, they're in the driveway doing something or they're having guests over. They always come out and they use a leaf blower and cause all kinds of noise and blow stuff up. I'm telling you, it's a recurring thing that disgruntled neighbors do. It's so funny. And it always ends with a gun. And I'm not going to start that conversation. I'm just saying that if there were no guns, leaf blowers, and dogs, most of these murders just would not happen. Just come at me with a knife, you might get
They'll
one
be back to
person.
just fucking the wife, and then that's why they want to kill.
But I
Good
can't
old
recommend these
fashioned
shows enough.
fucking. Well, yeah, I
Watch,
wrote them
watch it.
down.
Evil
Yeah.
Lives Here and Fear Thy Neighbor. But watch Fear Thy Roommate. And also, there's another
Scary.
roommate show that was on HBO or part of HBO on Netflix. Um, Roommate, something about roommates, and that got me started on that whole thing. Roommate
Oh,
from Hell. That's
yeah, I think my
oh,
wife watched that one. I might have caught a bit of it too, but it was not my cup of tea. That one.
really. Oh God, I love
I
those
don't
type of shows.
if if I'm remembering correctly. But
Yeah.
anyway, I mean it's crazy. Bring it. You know what? I really know Chris can't wait for this, aka Scott. That is Fango me up. It's been a long time
Oh,
coming. We keep saying we're gonna bring a Fango out,
we are. Well,
and
let's look at
and
Fango. Ding, ding, ding,
oh, you got a
ding.
digital?
Yeah.
I thought you were bringing an old
No, no,
school.
no. I gotta. No. It's not digital. I got them. I got them right here. I just have to freaking find out what I'm looking at here. I have to go to those old notes from way. Well, last time we were gonna do this was episode 215. That's and I had notes on there. BS
Oh
Proven
shit!
Podcast 13 Ghosts. Find me online. New listeners, and then here you go. Fango 6. Okay. So here, and then I have things written down. 6. See, we're still in freaking sci-fi Fango. We're not even in
Yeah.
straight horror Fango yet. So just indulge me here because
So this is more like Chris,
oh,
aka Scott horror, not straight.
oh, by the way, did you see what's on the cover? Do.
Oh yeah,
It's
Friday the
coming.
13th. Yeah,
Yes, Friday the 13th is here, folks.
but
So
but it got put to the side, and R2D2 and C3PO are on the fucking
right.
cover.
Right. They're just not there yet. This is their first anniversary episode. How about that? So I guess the first year they had only 5 issues. And then it's kind of like what they do now, right? June 1980, which makes perfect sense. Anniversary 1. So now I'm going to have to look at my notes and see what I want. I think there's some good mails here.
Well,
Some funny
I
emails.
remember there being a big split on the Friday the 13th with some kind of like nowadays, like some people hating it and some people absolutely loving it.
Well, it's not out yet here, so we're not going to hear anything about. We might read something about, but not about
That'll
me.
be issue 9, maybe.
Right. Star Wars. Yeah. See, we don't use The Wonderful Wizard. Oh, here you go. That's one
Oh,
of your
I did
favorites.
all these. Remember when I did that thing where I joke when I ripped off because um Jeremy used to do it on 22 shots and then he stopped.
Uh
So then
huh.
we just said we'll rip it off and pretend it's a brand new segment in our show, but then we never
Hmm.
actually officially introduced it. Well, remember when I did that very first episode, the only one I recorded, it was this issue. The
Are
Wonderful
you
Whiz.
serious?
Yeah, it was the Wonderful Whiz Star Wars. It talks about the dog fights and the scenes that they use there. It talks about a movie coming out. The Black Hole, right?
Yeah, but I don't think those things are here. This one thing here does say the Wonderful Wizard. But oh wait, the whole truth. I've just
Yeah,
seen the black hole and it's not all it's
yeah,
cracked up to be.
yeah.
Well, son of a bitch. So I can't even use the freaking mails
You
from this one.
can
I gotta
because
go with another one.
I know it already, but I mean the listeners out
No.
there definitely don't remember.
Well, I guess not. I guess we okay. The Wonderful Wizard. Here you go. Enjoyed your article on Herschel Lewis in Fangoria 4. I've never admired Mr. Lewis's works, but I'm glad to see such a piece in your magazine for a couple of reasons. First, I found low budget horror films can be a lot of fun when viewed with a lighthearted attitude. Second, I think it is Fangoria's credit to present such a wide range of topics as those in issue 4, a magazine that can present articles such on such varied topics as Curse of the Demons, Salem's Lot, Mr. Lewis's gore films, and Japan's Warrior Robots is a fascinating and fun magazine. Okay, so be it. Reluctant fan. I don't even know what's there. SFX careers. How about that? Man, my son is interested in a career in special effects. Is there any school he can attend after completing high school that will prepare him for his field? Man, the good old days, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. And they don't really give him anything. The best teaching tool we know for the SFX beginner is one of our sister publications, Cinemagic Magazine. See ad on page 30. um,
They just redirect them to an ad for another.
yeah, basically. Making a monster. What was making a monster? I don't know. Monroe Maniac. Oh, interesting. See, it's talking about Colonel Monroe, but it's talking about the Golden Voyage of Sinbad. Okay. But actually, there isn't a whole lot of
That might not. That's not
um
the one because the one I had was about Star Wars. It was about the Wiz. It was talking about Michael Jackson, and people were getting a little bit more, I think, fed up of why they were talking about it, as opposed to
oh.
because I think it was becoming more of a horror magazine.
Oh, okay. Well, here's one. Oldies are goodies. I strongly disagree with the letter writer in Fangoria 3, who stated that there should be more material in your magazine about current movies and less about classic films of the past. With few exceptions, like Phantasm, all of the recent horror and monster movies I've seen have been insulting and of low mentality. I
Ah,
also have a
so
suggestion.
that's never changed. Isn't that funny that that
Right.
mentality is the same mentality used by horror fans nowadays about the 80s movies that
True.
this guy's complaining about? Well, because it's only 1980 right now. So even the late
Right.
and not like in the new stuff. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's always like that. It's always been like that. Sorry
It's
for
pretty
cutting you off.
wild, man. No, no, no.
I
That's
want to hear more,
basically
but it's fucking hilarious.
It's basically what he was saying. Why not compile a list of the greatest monster movies made? I'm sure most leaders would enjoy it. And, they didn't really. They just kind of blew it off about freaking them not liking newer stuff. Big Monkey Man doesn't matter. How could we? Doesn't matter. The RH factor. No, see, there's a lot of these have to do with it. Here you go. Interesting. Wow. On Saturn 3 minus 15, because I watched Saturn 3 for the 1980 show. So it's on page 9 on Saturn 3, there were 5 pictures, and one of these pictures, Kirk Douglas is cutting Harvey Keitel's throat in what you call the Blue Dreamers murder sequence. I've seen the movie twice, and there is no such scene. Was it cut from the film? Apparently so. Yeah. Here it is. Saturn 3's distributor originally announced the running time of the film is 97 minutes. According to Count Finger's pocket watch, the film ran for 80 minutes. Among the omitted scenes were one, after taking the Blue Dreamers, Adam and Alex imagine what Adam has murdered Mayor James. Number two, Alex decides she wants to return to Earth. She tries on a scanty Earth outfit. Hey now. And three, after removing the Major's hand, Hector dismembers him part by an imitation of the way Hector was disassembled.
I
According to the
think
distributor,
I
there were
feel like
charges made.
sorry, sir, I
No, it's
for
okay.
cutting you out there. I think they put those back in, but I'm not 100% sure, of course. Um,
Yeah.
because I don't remember it being 80 minutes. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
I thought it
watched it
was
not too
longer.
long. You know where I watched it though? Hold on. I watched it on YouTube, so it's gonna be right there. Saturn 3, right?
Yeah.
Saturn 3? Yeah, let's see here. Saturn 3 movie. Let's see how long it runs for. An hour and 27 minutes. Yeah,
So
an
it's the
hour and
87,
27 minutes.
it's
Yeah.
87-minute movie.
Yeah, weird, huh? So
Yeah.
there's stuff that's never been seen. Wow.
Well, I thought
You
they
would
said
think by now they would have
97
done
and then
it.
it was 80, but yeah, anyway, still
Yeah, weird, huh?
crazy.
Okay, so now let's see here. What's next? Page 15, right side. Aha, page 15. You know what this is? Friday the 13th. Okay. What are they going to talk about before it even come out, which is freaking pretty awesome. Man, that's kind of honestly, that's kind of a telling picture. Look at this picture, right?
Yeah.
It's a little
What the fuck?
spooky.
It's
Yeah.
it's
I
spooky, but
mean,
I mean,
there's a
if
kill,
you
but it's
if you
right.
read the magazine to go see the movie, you're like, where's that woman
Right. There's
in
no
the
context
weird
there.
sweater?
That's freaking very strange. Wow. Okay. Um, what do they even say about Friday the 13th here? Non-horror success. Cunningham met some success with Nanny's Children, blah, blah, blah. Um, United Artists has picked up the rights to the film and may develop it as a television series. Oh, they're talking about Manny's Children. That's funny, not
Manny's
Friday the
children or Manny's
13th.
orphans? I thought it was Manny's orphans.
Manny, you're right, it is Manny's Orphans, but it says Manny's Children's here. That's weird.
So yeah, maybe they changed the name too.
Wow, yeah, wow. But
And killed all
Cunningham
the
Return to
parents.
Horror is explained. The simple truth is that I need a hit film, said Cunningham. So few people survive at all in this business, making any kind of film. It's nice to talk about cinema, but the truth of the matter is Friday the 13th seems to me a strong commercial property, and I think now is the right time for it. The plot of Friday the 13th is simplicity itself and largely a showcase of the extraordinary effect work of Tom Savini. 6 camp counselors gathered to reopen Camp Crystal Lake closed for several years because of 3 deaths that have led local townspeople to believe the camp is cursed. One counselor never even reaches the grounds while hitchhiking. She accepts a ride from the wrong person and pays for her mistake with a slashed throat. Spoiler City. Wow. Um, that night, the 6 counselors on the grounds continue with various teenage pursuits, like a game of strip Monopoly, while they are exterminated one by one. After 4 deaths by knife, arrow, and hatchet, the 2 remaining counselors, Alice and Bill, realize that something strange is afoot. They give the whole story out.
Yeah,
What
they
kind
get
of
the
shit is this?
whole fucking plot out. That's crazy.
But
Did they talk
everyone's
about Mrs.
dead.
Voorhees coming to get the
I don't know.
venge?
Let's see. You might. Someone has tampered with the engine of the camp's pickup truck. Cunningham feels that Friday the 13th is not entirely a return to the brutal horror tactics of Last House. If you examine it, Last House on the left has a sort of cynical edge to it, says Cunningham, in comparing the two films. It seems to say, you want horror? Well, here's real horror. Friday the 13th, on the other hand, is a roller coaster ride, a funhouse sort of thing. It's the same sort of thing as when you're 8 and you hide in the bushes when your sister comes home. You jump out of the bushes to scare her, and then you laugh. It's just amusing for me to sit in on a screening and watch the audience jump. Huh. Pretty wild. Look at this picture. Another one. Can you see this Brenda like that?
Visual, yeah. Brenda, yeah,
Never saw that
like just
picture.
reposed. Yeah, it looks like she's just posing
Yeah.
up against the pantry door that Alice is able to lock
Yeah.
herself in.
Kind of cool to see these pictures that we haven't seen before, before the movie
Yeah.
even came out. So yeah, that's freaking wild, man. Yep.
And the
Left.
funny part of it
Town.
again is like we mentioned already is that C-3PO and R2-D2 are on the front, which of course Star Wars is going to be a huge draw.
Well,
And in Friday the 13th, you got a picture of Bill with the arrow in his eye
right.
as like one of those
Right.
little frames of cinema, which I always used to love when they kind of ran down the left-hand side there. They changed it up
Right.
over the years, but I always love that.
That's pretty awesome, man. Page 15, page 16. And they're talking about the fog here. Oh, there's lots of stuff in here. Wow, hold on here. Because I'm trying to do it in order, you know, of course. Page 16, what do they say? Oh, yeah, there you go. The squirm factor, Friday the 13th. Hmm. As some of the film's early screenings, Cunningham found that the audiences were not just jumping, they were starting to squirm a bit too much for his taste. Aha. Tom Savini
Oh,
is so good at what he does, Cunningham says, and the effects that we use for the picture are so good that you find yourself wanting to leave in more of an effect scene than you should to get a strong shock effect. It can go over the border of shock. Gore itself isn't scary, it's disgusting. In the editing process, you only see it as a special effect and you get a little jaded. As it turned out, we shot an awful lot more of the effects that were used in the picture. So even back then, they said they left stuff out. Wow.
Oh,
Cunningham would certainly be among the first to admit that the financial success of Romero's Dawn of the Dead and Carpenter's Halloween is a major reason for making Friday the 13th. Yeah, we know that. Okay. So even
still
back then they
cool
were
though. It's still
talking
cool
about
to
it.
hear the
Yeah,
like he
man.
wasn't really hiding away from it either. Like, yeah, we're making this to make money.
And so what? Right. That's what it's about. Vincent Price talking about the Corman years. Huh. Okay. So page 25 here. What's he say about Corman? Ugh. This is hard to there's so much. It's just an interview, so it's hard to even remember what part it is. Because the thing is, I can't highlight. I'm not gonna highlight this
Oh,
magazine.
yeah, I know. I wouldn't.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
that's the problem. So
Blasphemy.
I just kind of, yeah, there's no way I would do it. So honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know what I was
Oh,
talking about here.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We
Right.
can. I mean, if when it comes to those interviews, yeah, that's difficult because yeah, otherwise you're reading the whole damn thing.
Oh, that's why. Wrong page. Okay. That's why. Page 25 is what I'm looking for. Okay. Corman. Um, he's talking about Corman here. This is Vincent Price. Did the use of long takes cause you any special problems? In Mask of the Red Death, there's a near 360 tracking shot as you walk around the main hall and speak on the anatomy of terror. And Vincent says this: Roger really used the camera superbly well. It was a fun thing. He loved the challenge of doing that. He would work all day on a scene. There was one moment when I was up on dailies with a long speech, and I came down with these long flowing capes and tripped. I fell down and knocked myself out cold. Wow, absolutely out cold. Damn. But Roger loved to create a mood, to work with the camera and the lighting. This is where he is terribly smart. The cameraman was Floyd Crosby, who was one of the best cameramen in the business. He had retired, and Roger admired something he had done years before and got him out of retirement. I know that Roger does give credit to that because his prop man and his special effects fellow, they were all among the best in the business, and they all loved the challenge of it. It was wonderful, really. So it's him talking about Corman. Um,
Awesome.
what else? 26 talks about fantasy. See what this is all about. Stephen King and George Romero, a collaboration in terror. This is actually pretty freaking interesting that they even had. This is a whole because they're talking about doing different things. I know you can't see it that well, but
Yeah.
it's King and Romero in 1980 having freaking making plans about things. So hold on, what did it say here?
Doesn't specifically
So,
say creep show, right? It just says that they're trying to collaborate.
right, but there's a couple different things. Now hold up. Here we go. Oh, something just fell out. Look at my magazine just fell out. That's not good, but
What
I'll
was
get back
that?
to it. Part of the magazine just fell out.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah, we're the color part. Okay, okay. What did excite the pair were their own plans to work together on two major film projects. One, an adaptation of King's ambitious novel The Stand, the other, a film collection of short horror tales in the style of EC's horror comics in the 1950s titled Creepshow. So there you go.
Perfect.
Um,
So what we got
now
one of them.
little more can be said of the latter. King had left all copies of Creepshow at his home in Western Maine. According to King, the thing about horror films is that there are as many good ones as there are. You wouldn't think there would be. There's such a tendency to play safe, isn't there? He laughs when Romero asks for the screenplay to Creepshow. I'm very embarrassed about that because the screenplay is all done. It's sitting on the dresser. It's just like showbiz. In regard to the filming of The Stand, King continues, I guess I never really had considered The Stand as a movie. Seriously. Then George and Richard Rubinstein came up. They were out in Hollywood after doing Dawn of the Dead and talking to people. And they kept saying, What about The Stand? And people would say, You can't do that. It's huge. And George and Richard would say, But have you read it? And they would say, No, but it's huge. This is a ridiculous way to approach a project for a movie. So you have to wonder if the studios are reading at all. So they talked about doing it way back then, the stand, and then apparently didn't. So here's more news though. Studio backing. I'm very excited about the stand. We're trying to produce with, pardon me, we're trying to produce that with or without a studio's involvement. There might be some studio involvement up front, but there's a lot different when you go to the studio and say the movie's going to cost 10 million and you already have 6. And getting that first 6 doesn't involve the studios at all. But Romero does foresee major studio involvement at some point in his career, either with a project he has brought to Hollywood or a project the established studios wish him to direct. The Creep Show is an anthology. I think one part was originally a short story, but whether it was previously published or not, I do not know because I haven't seen the script. Steve and I just had a couple of very broad conversations, just kind of respecting each other's jobs in regards to what each of us is going to do. And Steve just said, terrific. And I'll see you again when it's ready. I really look forward to reading it, even though I know what it's like, what it's intended to be. So, freaking crazy,
Cool.
huh?
I like how I called him
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah, right. Yeah, who calls him Steve? Right. So let's see. That's 25, 26. Okay. Next page is 40. Let's see what's on page 40. The Apes of Wrath. See, this is the whole thing about C3PO. There's a whole article about him in here.
Anthony
Anthony
Daniels. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, see that's it. Page 40. Left side, middle, and end. Huh. Okay. One magazine accused Star. Did we ever talk about this? I feel like I have, but hold on.
Okay.
One
Well, I don't
magazine
know.
accused Star Wars of being racist because C3PO and R2D2 were turned away at the cantina. I think machinist is the word they want, quips Tony. You can get heavy about things all the time, but occasionally you can use humor to point out something silly. In this case, wasn't it silly that they didn't serve our kind in there? So I don't know.
I
Okay,
don't know if you
apparently,
brought that up here, but I remember
right?
hearing about it. We don't serve their kind.
Yeah.
It's hilarious that someone see. So there's fucking what we would call or what are labeled snowflakes even back then. So times have not changed, everybody. It's just we've got the internet now, so that everybody's voice is that much more amplified. That's the
Um,
difference. That's the
Sad but
difference.
true.
People
Yeah.
have been people, and assholes have been assholes, and it's always been like this. Always.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna take a sip here because my throat's dry as can be, and
Then we got to get into some movies.
then we'll do that too. So we're almost done here. We got Botine. Okay,
Ooh,
a dream come true. I read all the monster magazines I can get my hands on, he proudly confesses, and Rick Baker was my big hero. In my humble opinion, he was the best, and not only that, he accomplished at an early age what others have toiled entire lifetimes to achieve. I never thought I'd get to meet him, but I take a stab at getting his autograph by sending a fan letter and some samples of my artwork. To my utter surprise, he contacted me shortly afterward and offered me a job as his apprentice. Friggin' Rob Bottin, this is how we got involved.
that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it completely blew me away. Naturally, I gleefully accepted. I've been working at my favorite craft ever since. Uh, one of the duo's first big assignments came when Lucas commissioned all the bizarre aliens for the now famous Cantina sequence in Star
Yeah.
Wars. Bottin vividly remembers the afternoon his mentor handed him the unique order. I looked at Rick in total dismay and said flat out, no one in their right mind would ever pay to see a bunch of drunk monsters milling around a space bar. Nevertheless, the job had to be done, and as everyone knows, it was done to perfection. So, freaking nuts, huh?
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, I knew that he worked with Rick Baker. I didn't realize that's how he got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a cool little
And
story.
then, okay, Tanya's Island and Into the Fog. Okay, so let's see here. Okay. Apparently so, as Bottin was recently tagged to play the ape creature in the upcoming fantasy Tanya's Island, described in the Hollywood trade papers as the first truly sexy horror film. The picture boasts some exotic tropical locales, and an all-star international cast. Rick Baker was originally scheduled to work on Tanya's Island, says Bottin, but the last moment he was called off to Universal for Further production of The Incredible Shrinking Woman. All at once, I found myself packing my bags and heading off to Puerto Rico with a bulky monster suit in tow. So,
Incredible
Tanya's
Shrinking
Island.
Woman. Wasn't that the one with
Yeah,
Lily Tomlin?
yes. And there was a
Or
big ape in that movie. I remember there was a big ape because she was riding on it and stuff. But I don't think this Tanya's Island ever came out.
oh, it did.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, they made a big deal about it
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry, I'm not connected. I keep forgetting I'm not connected. I'm pretty sure when it came out. Yeah, I know the name.
Okay, well then I guess I'm wrong. Okay. That's fine. So now it takes us to the fog. Happily, Botine survived his premature burial
Ejaculation.
and returned to Los Angeles in time to begin work on John Carpenter's The Fog, the long awaited follow up to Halloween. Actually, Botine points out, I got involved with the film after they started, after they started shooting. I was called in to do some optical work. They needed someone to make the lead ghost eyes glow bright red in the climatic confrontation between Holbrook and the evil spirits. Being a big admirer of Carpenter's earlier works, I decided, pardon me, I managed to wheedle my way into the screening room where they were reviewing the previous week's dailies. After the lights came up, I asked him if he had to cast the part of the captain or the derelict schooner. He told me one of the derelicts, pardon me, he told me straight off it was a very important role and a number of actors were now under close consideration. Almost without thinking, I just stood up brashly and shouted, "Why not use me?" Carpenter looked askance for a very long second, and I seriously thought he was planning to have me evicted bodily from the projection room. Instead, he nodded and told me to show up at the stage the next morning at 7 o'clock sharp. Unbelievably as it may sound, I had the part. So that's
Wow, I
how he
didn't know
got the
that either.
role. Isn't that nuts? Oh my God, I got to read this just because of the movie we're talking about. And so began yet another harrowing adventure for the youthful makeup man, who was required to spend half the day underwater in a frogman's wetsuit.
And
So there you
that's like
go.
a perfect lead in for a
It
feature
is,
later. Anyway.
and we could save it. We could save this magazine for the next time.
Yeah, no, I like
We,
that. That's cool.
you know,
We should at least
but yeah,
talk about a few of the what we want. Like, I mean, I'm gonna
yeah.
what I'll do is I'll list what I watch. I'm not gonna talk about them all because
I want you to look at this.
what are you
I
showing
want
me?
you to look at this.
It's a visual, everybody. Oh yeah, it's the I've seen these pictures before because I think they're
Isn't this?
in his book
Look at.
Grand Illusion.
I've
Yeah.
seen some of them, but not all of them. Those
Yeah,
ones in the
maybe not all
middle,
of
I've
them.
never
It's
seen
Tom
those.
Savini making first
Yeah,
Jason, Ari Lehman, uh
yeah.
his cast of the Jason head.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
Wow. They didn't
it
even
is
say what his
something.
name is. The subject hair is smoothed down. The subject, that Ari Lehman. That should be his new name, the subject.
The subject.
Instead of first Jason.
The subject.
They don't even want
It
to give
sums
us
it
that.
up. That
Right.
sums it
The
up.
subject.
Oh,
Oh
fucking
God.
great. So
Okay.
here's my list. This is my
Oh,
list. I'm
this
not
will
going to
be
talk about
fun.
them all
Yeah.
though. And I'm like I'm just going to list
Well,
them and then you list them. But I'm only going to talk about like maybe four of these and then we can get into the feature or whatever. We'll see. But here we go. Mardi Gras Massacre, Hell Night,
uh-huh.
The Price We Pay, Terror Train, because I the remake, because I watched the sequel, so I'm like, I better go watch the remake again because I enjoyed the sequel way more than I expected to. I wanted to see if I was too harsh on the remake. Life of Bell, Disconnected, A Classic Horror Story, Cloak and Dagger. Again, I did that for the other show. The Initiation. Oh, shit, I don't know the I can't remember what the name of this is in English, but it's one of the ones that Kuno gave us. Um
Oh.
Morkaleg or something like that. I can't remember what it is in English. Sorry, it's on my thing. Severance, Slaughter High, April Fool's Day, Red Eye, The Zero Boys, Deadly Manor, Frogman, of course, Edge of the Axe, and Doom Asylum.
Nice. Nice. Doom Asylum. Oh
Fucking Doom
God.
Asylum.
I told you not to.
Holy five. Well, I did. You know what? I think I started it, and I don't think I actually ever finished it. This time I said I'm going to try to finish it. What a fucking chore it is to get through that movie.
Oh,
I just love how the two women though just wear a bathing suit for the whole thing.
I'll never see it again. I saw it the last time around. I said I'll never watch it again. I was in my
Yeah,
bottom five, bottom 10 ever. So I said no.
the drill to the
Well,
guy's head is actually quite good.
it is a good kill. Okay.
Yeah,
There's something. There's something. Um, let's see what I watched here. I'm trying to think of what I watched since what did we talk about last time? Okay, Black Serenade, Phantom of the Mall, Torso, Girls Night Out, Nightmare, aka Nightmare on a Damaged Brain, Bloody Moon, The Final Girls, Berserker, Office Killer, Fender Bender, Horror Show, The Conference. So quite a lot.
oh, good. I want to hear your take on the conference if you enjoyed it or not. Do you want to talk about it
Yeah,
now, or do you want to wait?
I don't care. It's funny that's the last one I just watched. I watched it today. Here's the thing, I did enjoy it. Um, so I don't know if you talked about the plot, but they're building a new shopping center. Here's the thing,
I
they're
didn't
building a
talk
new
about the
shopping
plot
center.
because I didn't want to
Okay,
give too much away because you hadn't seen it. And then after I
okay,
saw it, I wanted to watch Severance again because it reminded me of the. I thought there were some similarities, which there are, but they're and I hate like they're different though. But anyway,
yeah.
I won't steal
Well,
it. You go ahead.
this is Swedish, right? And it's and they're building a new shopping center, but they're also apparently building a whole new area to live. And all these people are coming in there. So who are these people? These are people that are, I mean, because there's like a dozen people, and this is what I couldn't get. What were their jobs specifically? Do you even know, or no, or
Well, I'm going by memory. I think they're just the planners, the developers, like they want the ones that were
developers?
putting everything in, but ultimately by cutting corners and not following. Well, not all of them are doing that. They thought they were doing the right
Right.
thing, but the main guy was just kind of just doing what he needed to get done to make
Okay, I
sure that
guess
it was happening.
developers. I was trying to think of the right term for it. So you do have a bunch of people there. You do have one good girl who's kind of like the lead final girl, pretty blonde Swedish girl, and they don't get into it, which is fine. But apparently she had a leave of absence from work, and she just returned. I don't think they
Yeah.
said what she went through, but something happened. And I'm glad they didn't get deep into it. It didn't matter. But as she was gone, something had happened and there was some papers signed and she doesn't remember signing the papers. So you have a bunch of different, people there and it's like there's a leader of it and then there's like another guy who looks like he's rising up the ladder quickly and he's trying to take the reins and there's some discrepancies going on about that because maybe there's some shady dealing and there's like some you know there's what's the word here, they want to make sure that there's a farmer that's been compensated because apparently they're building all these new things and somehow they were aware of this one farmer and somehow they leveled his stuff and this girl comes in, she goes, I want to make sure he was compensated, what happened to the family, this and that, and it never really comes out, so there's a little bit of different stuff going, they're trying to be all on the
Well,
same team.
well,
What's
you
up?
do find out that he ended up
Well,
killing him.
eventually, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I
Okay,
wasn't gonna say it, but
sorry.
yeah, it's okay.
I thought maybe
I
you
was trying.
didn't realize when it happened. Sorry.
Oh no, I just didn't want to say everything. So they were trying to figure out, and there was like discrepancies amongst, and then things come out
Yeah,
later on,
I'm like
and we
Sean
find
Cunningham. I'm
things.
telling the whole
But
movie here.
what are you gonna do? But there's the real asshole character. That's the one I was talking about, and the other ones are okay, whatever. But I mean, it is a slasher. All of a sudden, there's a mascot. The guy's trying to promote like good faith amongst all the developers, and he's like the one guy. So he brings like a mask. He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a character for this area." I don't know. So he has this big head mask and some weapon or something, and he's dancing around. And well, next thing you know, kills start happening. Guy takes the mask. They don't have their cell phones because they had to give them up for the one day for the
Yeah.
project they were doing. It was like a project in teamwork, so they have a good reason to do the stuff. Now the kills when they happen are good. They're cool,
Yeah.
and it's different to see this type of it's an adult slasher. You have adults getting killed as opposed to kids, so that stuff is good, and I was on board with it. I was fine. I just at one point the asshole character, the one that you want to see get this terrible death, all of a sudden he's riding away on this motorcycle or this dirt bike or whatever the hell it was, and somebody throws out, well, the killer throws out wood with nails on it, to pop his tires. So it happens, and you usually want to see the asshole get the best kill. Well, all of a sudden, this is what turned things for me. The freaking he just runs over this thing and he's just like it gets a flat or whatever, and he crashes into this bridge and just kind of flies off his bridge into the water, but it wasn't like a deep drop or anything. And then he just lays there. I had to rewind and see, wait a minute, are they trying to say this guy just died? Because he's floating in the water as he's dead. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a terrible freaking. Why are you gonna do that? So then I was like a little turned off. I'm like, they're gonna call that a death. So anyway, the movie progresses on, and it's good, and I dig it. And then something happens at the end of the movie which has to do with the thing I was just talking about. And they made it even cheesier for me. Like, well, why would they do that? Why would this happen here? But I still enjoyed the kills and the basic premise. It's old school. I like
Yeah.
that.
That's what I was saying. It felt old school.
Yeah.
The killer from the setup, from the reveal. There was that
Yep.
goofiness that just happened, a little bit of goofiness at the end that I wasn't too sure if, like, it just took me up for a little bit, but I'm like, please don't blow it, please don't. And I think they like reined it in. That's what but hopefully you didn't get too goofy for you. When there's that
No,
one thing that
no.
happens, that one character, they're kind of stumbling around for a bit, but
No, no, no. I was fine with that. That was cool. But my one complaint was what they did with the one character, like I said, and the fact
sorry.
that there's too many survivors. You have all these people, you expect they're all going to get bumped off, and maybe you'll get a final girl, maybe a second person. But I can't stand when I have a slasher that has that many survivors. It rubs me wrong. So I did enjoy it. It's. I'm still going to say it's probably a. I'm trying to think of the ratings. What would that be? 7 to an 8.5, or
That'd be a half
somewhere.
head then. 7 to 8.
Maybe a half head.
Yeah.
Maybe a half head.
Well, that's what I
It's
had
on
it
the
at.
list.
Yeah.
It's on the list that it could make the list, but I don't
I
know
know.
because
I
I
would
have too
that's why
many.
I'm glad to hear that, because that's kind of what I was like. I said, until I formulate the final list,
Hmm.
it's a contender. It's there for sure. So I'm glad you at least had that experience with it as well.
Yeah, no, I'm glad this movie came out last year.
Yeah, it was I avoided it too because I thought the cover looked stupid and I wasn't sure what it was about. And then Brandon mentioned it was good. He didn't make his list. I thought it made his list. He said it was just off, but he recommended it. And then so I watched it
Okay.
when on one of my trips, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is much better than I was expected to be. This is great." I also like the production value. The look of it is really good.
It did look really good.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll give you that.
So I'll talk very quickly about Mardi Gras Massacre and just say, don't watch it. If anybody, just don't watch it. It's on Tubi. It is a Herschel Gordon Lewis wannabe, where although there's not good gore, there's gore. It's literally like really they're just interested in aiming the camera, not moving the camera, getting a girl naked. So there's a lot of girls, like there's 3, 4 girls that get fully naked. And then this ritual sacrifice where the guy goes and starts cutting open the stomach and I'm pulling out the innards. So there's gore, but it's just all done very matter of factly, like just stagnant bad shots and maybe a close up, or but mostly stagnant and far back. And then there's like a chase scene at the end with no music whatsoever. Like and there are sorry, no sound, like natural sound. It's just a musical like um
Oh,
soundtrack, but
music,
it's
but
just yeah,
okay.
it's just really badly done. And he kind of gets away. It's like sped up, police chase, just really, shoddily made movie.
What year is that from?
76 or 78. Sorry,
Wow.
again,
Okay.
it was
That's
early,
why. Okay.
early 76 or 78, like in that time frame, earlier than I was expected it to be, but it is slasher-esque, but in that Herschel Gordon Lewis way.
Well, I like Herschel Gordon Lewis. I'm okay with that stuff. I will say something here. Since you mentioned music, just really quickly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do
Oh
you
no,
have
you
more
didn't.
on that?
That's it for that. It's
Okay.
like it's I wouldn't say a full yeah, it's pretty bad. I'd say it's like a 3 out of 10.
Holy shit. Yeah, don't do that. Well, I wanted to say something about music because I watch horror show. You said you watched it last show.
Yeah.
And I realized that first of all, you have Carpenter, Harry Manfredini does the score, and you can't tell at all. This is the
The
only
first time.
Manfredini.
I know. I agree.
Yes, it sounded like just a regular any other horror movie's score,
Yeah.
which was odd. But I will say this: ultimately, it bored me. That's what happened with me. I was okay. I was engaged, I guess, in like the first act, but when it got going, like maybe only two people got killed. I guess it picked up a little steam in the climax, but I was just kind of bored with it. And you know what I remember? The only thing I always remember from this movie, as soon as I started, it came back to me, was that turkey. The fact that he was, I always remember that from the first time I saw it at the theater, was that when he turned into a turkey. But whatever. I don't know if it's any better or worse than Shocker. Shocker probably has more of a. At least Shocker wasn't boring. So I
Interesting.
just kind
Yeah.
of.
I liked it
Yeah, it
better
was
than
just kind of.
Shocker, but yeah.
It was just slow and boring. I thought like that guy, the scientific guy, came in. He's talking about electricity, and I don't know. But
That's where I just thought it got kind of goofy with that. I think they could have
the
left it
kills
out.
look good though. The
Yeah.
very few kills we got with the cleaver looked good. The special effects were actually good. I'll give it that. But again, the worst thing you could do is bore me. And that's just what happens. So, and I wanted to
I
mention
would
this one here.
recommend don't watch Destroyer then. That's the other one that I watched. That
I
it's the same
won't.
sort of premise.
Did you see Fender Bender yet? I've
I
never
saw it
seen
the
it.
year it
So,
came out. Yeah, the year it came out, I
okay,
saw it. And Jason Lloyd recommended it because he said it was a decent slasher, and I really enjoyed it.
I'll say what I'm gonna say about Fender Bender. It was a really cool setup, and it's a good MO for the killer to do what he's gonna do. It's a cool idea. I like that. But as the movie's going in, I even have a note here. Enough already. Please call the cops. And then I said, that's unfortunate. Now I have to hang in for 45 more minutes. Because at one point in the film, it happened. And I said, every decision this girl is making and everything she's doing, I have no sympathy for her. I can't hang with her. However, I hang with her. I hang with the movie because I'm halfway through. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it. Then I said, something good happened. Finally, somebody rolls when they're on fire. They fucking stop, drop, and roll. I always say it every time we
The
watch a
old,
movie,
yeah,
no one
old
does it.
school.
Someone does it in this one. And then the girl kept doing things wrong. I'm like, dial the phone number as you're walking. She finds the cell phone to finally use it, and she goes up anyway. She was making all these, and my note literally says, "Please just kill her now." And then I write, "Come on, man, her knees." He finally gets the girl, and he stabs her in the knees. I'm like, "What?" So I was getting upset about it. However, it ends up being a half head because I have got to give it credit for how it wrapped up because all the complaints I was having, I said, okay, you taught a lesson. And this happened throughout, and I'm not happy about it, but you rectified it by saying, okay, we're going to do this. It's something I've been waiting to see for a long time in a movie happen. So simply because of that, it's enough to be a half head and in contention. I'm going to say that and leave it at that.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen it since, I don't, you probably know what I'm talking about, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to rewatch it though for sure, but I remember enjoying it. Um, I just want to bring this one up because I came out last year. At least I believe so. It could be on people's not lists. I can't imagine anybody having it on their list, but maybe they didn't get to watch it till this year. The Price We Pay. I didn't actually know what this
Mm.
movie was. I just downloaded it because I liked it's the kid that was in Autopsy of Jane Doe, and it's Stephen Dorff, right? Stephen Dorff from The Gate and Blade. That's his name, right?
Okay.
They're in it, and it's a very bizarre movie about this girl that is, I guess, had been addicted to drugs and she cleaned herself up, but now she owes this guy at this pawn shop some money, and then the pawn shop's getting robbed, and then she's trying to get out of there, and the guys that are robbing it see that she's there, and they get her in the car and they drag her in, and their car doesn't work, so they have to use her car, and now she's part of it, and she doesn't want them to see doesn't want them to see their faces because she doesn't want to identify them, but they're like, it's too late, you're in on this, and whatever. And they end up getting out and driving and trying to just get away. And they end up on this farm, and it ends up turning into this whole thing where they're at this farm, and it's like this jigsaw type guy that wants to show people like they've more to live or wants to teach them a lesson. The downfall is it's so heavy-handed and it's so
Mm.
flippant, and then the film goes off the rails, and the film technique that they use in the editing style starts to be annoying, that it all falls
Ah,
apart. Even though that there's some gore and some craziness, it was not what I was expecting it to be, but it started pretty promising, and then even the actors that you tend to like just sort of fell off, but I don't blame them. I blame the director and the script, but there is gore. It's kind of worth checking out, but it's nothing special by any means. Like,
yeah.
like a 5 out of 10 tops.
I won't be watching. What year is it from?
It was like 2023, but I'm not sure if it
Okay.
got if it got released officially 2023 everywhere, or if it was 2024 early, but I'm not counting it as a 2024. I think it was officially last year. And I'll just say this quick about Terror Train, the sequel. I did like it better than the first time I watched it. I mean,
Hmm.
it's dumb fun. It it looks decent. There's a decent enough core amount of kills. I actually think I prefer the sequel, the dumb sequel to the remake.
That's funny, man.
But I
Hey,
totally admit that it's dumb, and I know that. But it's well made, and I don't know, something about it I just enjoyed. But I actually didn't mind either of these. It's just the cover art of this one's horrible, absolutely
right.
horrible.
Yeah, well, that'll do it. That'll do it. Oh, there's one I wanted to mention because it was a first time watch, and I used to always see this VHS box in the store, but never rented it. It's called Berserker.
I watched that
I'm
last
gonna.
summer. That was the first one I watched. The very first one I watched to start off the slasher movies.
Well, it's not good, but but it's I want to recommend people watch it just because it's such an oddity and should be seen one time by all slasher fans. Just because.
So
I
is
just
it
want to
a
say that.
wolf or is it?
Well, that's just the weird part. At the end, you see the mask. You
Yeah.
can actually see the straps for the mask. I'm like, is that supposed to be there, or are they trying to see? But then the mask disappears when they die. So that's what I'm saying. It's so damn weird. It's played well because in the beginning, you just think that there's a bear. They show this guy, he's half man, half bear, and he's got like a bear's head or something. It's a mask though. But then there also happens to be a bear on the loose as well. And so the kills are happening the same way with a claw. But then at one point, I don't even want to say. I would rather them watch it and get to the
Yeah.
crazy things that happens. And I'm like, wait a minute. And there's a strange reveal, but it's fun. And then we get a fight, and then there's like this backstory about Viking raiders and what a berserk is, and you know,
Berserker. Some clerks. The production value is much better than you'd expect for this. Like there's like
yeah,
backlighting. There's, it's not, dreadful. It's worth, I think it's worth a view. It's not
it's a
making my list.
curious thing.
Yeah, I'd say it's a
No,
six. to 6.5 tops, 6 maybe
I'm
is
not that
probably
high. I'm like a
okay.
5, but
Okay.
I still recommend it because of it being the oddity that it is, because there's not another slasher like it. And there's a couple weird things that go on. So I still want people to watch it if they've never seen it. But there's a lot of kids and a bear walking around. A lot. That bear was great. I mean, I don't know how they got that bear to be so docile, but it was, man. It was a freaking cool bear walking around, you know? But I do want to recommend it because and they had those fun soundtrack songs. You know, they were like made for the film. One was called King H. One was called Cool Dude. Another song was called Prisoner of Rock and Roll, and Buck Flowers is in it with using an accent. I don't know. It's weird, man. It was weird, but like I said, there's a reason to watch it because it's really a one of a kind movie, and there are a couple good kills, and it's not one you're going to soon forget. So I want people to watch it, but don't expect it to be good. So I guess that's all we got, right? We have
Well, let's
I mean
do
I got more, but
well,
you know.
no, let's do a few more each then, just because I just do want to talk about. So I got the name of the other one. So the one that I couldn't pronounce properly that Kuno sent us to
Oh
check
yeah.
out was called Backstabbed. I'm not going to say that I enjoyed this movie. Some of it irked me, but it's worth checking out. It is worth watching. This came out in 96. So it came out most definitely before Scream, because Scream came out at the end of 96, if you remember. It was December
Yes, it did.
of
Yep.
96. So it was at the end. So you
Yep.
could call this like a modern take on a slasher, but yet there hadn't been like everybody sort of chucks it up and saying Scream started the modern slasher craze, even though we had there was other ones in the 90s like Dr. Giggles and whatnot. But this one, so this one kind of falls suit. There's a decent amount of kills, a lot of walking around a house though, because they're playing a game that is called Backstabbed, or they say it's just is this game, and that's what the premise is. And then they, as they play the game, it ends up, of course, they start getting killed one by one. Uh, but I, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. It, looks decent. It doesn't overstay its welcome, but there was a lot of walking around, and I could have used a little bit more gore, but it was decent. Not going to make my list, but I'm looking forward to the other one that Kuno sent us as well. He gave us two to check out because we said we were
Right.
bringing foreign slashers into this. So this is, I believe, from Denmark because that's why Kuno recommended it. So if you can track it down, again, he sent it to us, everybody. So I'm not too sure where you can find it. You might have to rent it, or maybe it's on YouTube. I didn't even check, but this is Kuno's specialty. So thank you, Kuno.
Yeah, I gotta get on them too. They just haven't come up on my randomizer yet, but they're on the list. So I'm looking forward to it. Well, as long as we're talking about that time period, I watched this one from '97, and it wasn't the first time. I saw it last year for pardon me, last time for Year of the Slasher years back. But I always wanted to watch it again. And this is 1997 Office Killer. And
Yeah, I want to see this again.
I'll tell you what, I forgot how disturbing it actually gets at one point. Because it has this cool cast in it, which is pretty awesome. It's freaking, Carol King is in there, and she plays this goofball character, and and then you have
Isn't it Esmeralda from Pulp Fiction? Isn't she the main character? The cab
Esmeralda.
driver? Is that her name?
I don't know. No, Carol Kane is the character. She's the lead.
Oh, I thought it
Nope.
was that girl that played the cab driver in Pulp Fiction. Maybe I'm obviously I'm wrong, but like
I don't
what
remember
movie
the
I'm
cab
thinking of?
driver. Molly Ringwald is in this, and she never looked better than she did here in 1997. She was kind of a bad girl in a way
You
too,
don't
so
remember
that
the
helps.
cab driver in Pulp Fiction? The one's like,
No.
they call me Bruce. Like, what's your name? I'm an American, honey. I mean, names don't mean shit.
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot about a cab driver, but I remember the scene, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But they're in an office and they're downsizing and everybody's going to go to part-time, and there's all kind of stuff going on. Molly Ringwald is in there. It's interesting because Chris from The Sopranos is in there too. Yeah, I never thought to see those two worlds come together. You get The Sopranos and Molly Ringwald, and so you got Chris and her in one scene, a couple scenes together, and there's some decent gore, and then it actually gets disturbing because the kills are done, but the person that's doing the killing is keeping the freaking bodies in their house. And I forgot that aspect of it. So it actually gets disturbing in that way. I'm like, wow, they're really unhinged. Um, but like I said, it's an interesting cast. The kills are fine. There's some good gore. It's a little bit weird sometimes. Sometimes it reminds me of a Serial Mom a little bit. It's almost like May in a way, but if May, if it just started off with her killing. You know what I mean? Because in May she doesn't do the killing till like the third act. But picture like this person who's like a little odd, killing people that she knows, and that's what this is. So I probably already said too much, but there's a couple interesting things in the beginning. It's like I said, it's an adult slasher for a change. So another one, and it opens up with a couple of like what I have to consider to be nods to Intruder of all things, only because they showed this shot in the beginning from it isn't a shopping cart, but it's like a those office carts they might push around an office if you worked in an office where they give you things. I don't know what those things would be called, but they place the camera in the cart much like they do Intruder in the shopping cart, and then right after that first scene they show a close up of that letter puncher thing, that thing that somebody gets killed with on a desk, you know, um, an Intruder. So I'm like, that's an odd choice that they do those two things right in a row. So, but it's not going to make a list or anything. It's like a 6.5, but it's definitely worth your time. And it's so odd that it came out in 1997, post Scream, and it's not that way at all. There's nothing meta going on, and there's no kids. So it's another interesting type of slasher.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this when it came out. Didn't this come out on Tarantino's like label? It, am I
Maybe.
blending this? I'm pretty sure, but I can't remember for whatever reason. I thought she was in this, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm blending two different movies together now. Um,
Maybe you're
so
thinking of Killer Movie, which also starred Molly Ringwald and was a slasher and came out in 2008. Let's see. Paul Wesley. Oh, Kaylee Cuoco's in there. Cuoco and Gloria Votsis. Tori DeVito. I don't know. Where the hell
well,
is it Molly in this one too, or am I effed up in the head?
no, I don't
I
think
might be
Molly's in
just,
that one.
maybe I'm wrong. Why did I think that? Well, I like Killer Movie. I'm looking forward to watching it again. Actually, that actually made my top 50 last time. But look at this Killer Movie Director's Cut 2021. That doesn't make any sense. Isn't this weird? It's another movie. Did you know this happened?
No,
Wow. Listen to this. In 2021, this is the synopsis for this movie, okay? In 2008, a reality television crew was dispatched to a small town in the United States to cover the story of an underdog high school hockey team on their way to state finals. One by one, members of the cast and crew went missing. But that was the original movie, so I'm confused. Why would a director's cut be an hour and 20 minutes and released 16 years later? Or how many years later? Wow. No, it's the same movie, but it's a director's cut that's shorter, but came out in 2021. I don't get this at all.
Curdled is the one I'm thinking of. Curdled was it's Angela Jones. She plays Esmeralda, the cab driver in Pulp Fiction, and she's in Curdled in '96, which is
Oh,
yeah, that's the one.
Esmeralda?
Yes, Esmeralda. I don't know what I said, but Esmeralda is who I was talking about, and
That's
she
Bruce
plays
Willis's wife in the movie, or no?
no, it's the cab
Oh,
driver. That,
Forget it
but
then.
he
Okay.
jumps out and he gets in the cab. They're getting away and he's changing the back. He's like, Butch, you killed that man in there, didn't you? He goes, oh, he's dead? And whatever. And he's like, Butch, what does that mean? I'm an American, honey. Our names don't mean shit. It's like a big scene in the
Okay.
movie. I can't remember. But anyway, she's the main killer in this movie called Curdled, and that's the one that Quentin Tarantino presents. So I'm blending Office Killer with Curdled. So I'm not sure. I've seen Office Killer. I think I was thinking Curdled,
Okay. Well,
which
see
now I
Office
feel like I've
Killer.
got to watch that again now.
See Office Killer and see Killer Movie.
And
How's
Curdled.
that? What is curdled? Wait a minute though. Is it a
90,
slasher?
96. After getting interested in murder as a kid in Colombia, Gabriella now has a scrapbook on murders, including clippings on the Blue Blood Killer. While cleaning his latest murder scene in Miami, she comes across a clue missed by the cops.
Is it a slasher or no?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm, I remember it was about a killer. I remember it being
Oh, okay.
kind of
Dark
bloody.
comedy, satire comedy. Who knows? I'll look into it. Maybe it is. Stunning black comedy. Okay. Tarantino fans don't miss curdled. There you go.
That's the one I was thinking of anyway. I was
Okay.
like, because yeah, so I got to see Office Killer. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, see Office Killer and make sure you see Killer Movie this time. I don't know if you saw it last time, but check it out.
I did see Killer Movie. I
And
think I
look for
remember.
the
That's the one that with isn't Tony the guy who plays Burton Tony in the Rocky movies in that one?
Tony Burton,
No,
the guy who
Tony
plays
in the
Duke.
Rocky movies. Duke, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
His name is Tony Burton in real life.
Yeah. Tony Burton in real life, Duke in the Rocky. You're right. Sorry. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Is he the
Sorry.
one that's in that one?
I don't recall, but let's see. Which movie? Killer Movie?
Yes.
Okay.
You're the one that brought it up. I don't-
Let's see. Robert Buckley, Nestor Carbonell, Kaylee Cuocho, Adrian DeMeo, Tori DeVito, El Santos, Paul Wesley. I don't know. I don't think he's in it.
So the only other two, well, I'll bring up three in a row. The Zero Boys, Deadly Manor, Edge of the Axe. All three have very good production value. Zero Boys is a weird movie because it starts with that like sort of that actiony sequence, but then it sort of settles into what ends up being a slasher film. Um, it's not my favorite. It's definitely watchable,
Mm-hmm.
but like, yeah, I don't know, six, possibly 6.5 out of 10. Six is probably a safer bet. The reason I bring up
Right
Deadly
on.
Manor and Edge of the Axe, you watch both of these, I believe, as well. The look of these movies looks more like Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3 than any other movies that I think I've seen. So I just felt very comfortable watching these. I really enjoyed the look of them because it took me, even though they're made in like, I think the latter part of the 80s, like not 87, so a few years later, just the look of them, to see the colors popped like those first like part 2 and part 3 of Friday the 13th. I know they're two distinct looks to them,
Uh-huh.
but that's what they reminded me of. And I enjoyed the movies
Wow.
because of that. Both of them are decent. Deadly Manor falls off a fucking cliff though for the reveal and the end scene when you find out it like when the burnt woman reveals her really bad burn effect on her face and then explains everything and has this really weird voice and it just falls completely apart at the end. But it's a decent movie up at
Oh,
that point. And then Edge
right.
of the Axe, I really dig that movie. I really dig it. I don't disagree with what you're saying with the back and forth with the computer talk a little bit and
Right.
whatever. There is one mishap in that movie. You pretty much clear as day see the killer when he's chasing with that one woman and he steps out. They step out, and it's like I don't know if it's just that quality has gotten so much better over the years that you could make out the facial details. It's like the equivalent of that scene in Sleepaway Camp We were
I
like,
knew you were gonna say
is that
that. Yep.
Angela? But you know what I'm talking about
Yep.
exactly, right?
And
It's like
tricky.
this. You're
Yeah.
like, well, wait a second here. That's clearly what's his face. But then at the
Right.
end, the reveal of who the killer is, you're like, well, no, it can't be.
Okay. I didn't even pick up on that.
So I was like, wow, that's a weird thing. But I enjoy the movie overall. Again, I don't know if it's gonna. It may sneak in because I feel like I can give that a 7, a comfortable 7. I've enjoyed it both times I've watched it. And I feel like that's a true forgotten slasher because I do remember. I kind of remember seeing that poster when I was younger, avoiding the movie for whatever reason,
Uh-huh.
and never hearing about it again. And then when it got this
Right.
release a few years ago, yeah, but I like it. I think it's fun.
Excuse me. I'll have to yeah. You thought it was fun. I forgot what I rated it, but can't remember. But yeah, that was the missing for so long too, that movie. You couldn't even see it. It was freaking hidden, you
Yeah.
know.
Do you want to do
I'm
one
glad
more?
it,
Then we'll do Frogman, or do you
yeah.
want to get right into Frogman? It's up to you.
It don't matter, man. I'm fine. Whatever. We could do one more. I don't care. What do I even have? Here's what I'll tell you. This is what's left. I'll tell you, and you tell me. This is what I have. Okay. Phantom of the Mall, Torso, Nightmare, and that's it.
Well, Nightmare. Tell me about Night. I want to hear about all three, but let's just do. You could save Torso and I guess Phantom of the Mall for next time. Then, but what
Yeah.
Nightmare?
Well, the yeah, these ones I always watch I watch the longest, like further back. So, but Nightmare, man, I'll tell you, I feel like if I watched it another time, I might even come up a little higher. It's it has a nice crazy start, and you know, they claim major success on this guy that went away for murder, I guess, right? When he was a kid. See, I'm already forgetting, but he was in an institution. They say that he's okay and he's getting out now. And then, you know, you start seeing honestly, I can't even remember. I'm not even gonna talk about
That
Nightmare. I'm just gonna
that's okay. I just remember it being very gory, and I remember that my understanding was that Tom Savini did the effects work, but
but
fucked
he
the
did
director's wife and got fired or left, and the director committed suicide or something. Like it's a horrible like story or something to that effect. If I'm, I could be fucking that up, but
well, this is what I said. These are my notes here, okay? I'll tell you something. I'll read you what my notes say. Crazy start, claiming major success on someone insane, a throat slit. I knew the whole time it was a joke. Keeps calling house. Kid finding girl is kind of scary. Wish just a minute. I don't know what that means. Could it be? Okay. Finally getting to a climax. Another good kill. All about the kid. From one kid's trauma to another kid's story. It's sad. Um, I like it more as a movie than I do as a slasher. And then I said this. You can tell Savini assisted, but didn't do the FX in a cool reveal. That's what I said. So you could tell because they're not as good as Savini effects, but you could tell because he did. There are certain tricks that are done in this movie that Savini has also done. Like there was like a beheading that looked a lot like the beheading of Mrs. Voorhees, but it doesn't look as good. Like now you can look and see the toothpicks on Mrs. Voorhees because
yeah,
we're aware of it, and you look and you see them. But in this one, it's you could tell it's not as good of a gag. That's why I say Savini assisted, but didn't do it. That's what I get out of it. Like he had, you know, someone there and he was like working with him, but I don't think it's his like his actual handiwork. It's more of him assisting. That's what I would guess just by the quality of it all.
I'm also totally wrong about him committing suicide. He's still alive.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
so I just wanted to confirm that because I'm like, maybe I've got my facts wrong. I don't know where I got that whole. But yeah, again, this is a discussion I had with a fellow horror fan years ago, and I swear they told me the story that at least I'm pretty sure it was this director that's why Tom Savini's name's not anywhere on the picture. But
I
who
know he's
knows?
not.
Maybe
Right.
there's more to it that I'm aware of. But yeah, I'll dig in and maybe that'll be a cliffhanger, old school cliffhanger.
But it is a good movie. I just don't remember a whole lot about it. But again, it's gonna I give it a 7, so it's in contention, and
Yeah,
I might have
would
to watch
you
it again.
like? I remember really liking it too. Would you pay like $75 for the 4K?
No, I don't think so. No,
It's an
I'm not paying that
expensive
kind of
as
money.
4K, that's for sure.
Forget that. I mean, I would like to see it restored, but not for that kind of money. No. So,
So let's get into it because I don't know if this is actually going to be a significantly long review, but we want to get
right.
into Frogman.
Okay, man. Let's do that. Now,
Let
I
me,
decided to watch this movie because it's found footage and it passed enough of my test that I was like, okay, this is worth checking out. It's a found footage movie. It's short. Let's do
yeah,
something. So that's why we selected this one. Plus, nobody else was talking about it.
three
So,
friends in search of the Loveland Frogman finds out that he's more than just a local legend. So that should have been find out. This is written wrong on the B. So don't just blame me this time, everybody, although I'm usually at fault here. This is three friends in search of the Loveland Frogman find out that he's more than just a local legend. Directed by Anthony Cousins. That typo really irks me. Uh, this is one of those movies like it was fine. It was fine. I'm not sure they really get into the mythos enough, or I think they try to, but they don't really deliver enough, and that's where the meat and potatoes need to be, because otherwise then it's just a Blair Witch ripoff, which it pretty much is. It's just another let's go into the woods. But did I like the setup of it? Yeah. Did I like the catalyst of getting them all together to go back? Yeah. So there's enough to like here, but I'm not
and there's
sure I
enough.
really like the payoff all that much. But
That's fair. That's kind of how I feel. I don't regret my time with it. I do like a
yeah,
little. I kind of like the mythology that nobody knows anything and that only two people have ever caught this thing on camera. And the 10-year-old boy did it the first time, who's now grown up and he's trying to go back and freaking, So we just happened to catch it by accident. I figured you would actually like the beginning, how it's filmed in '99. A lot of times you complain when you see a
yeah,
movie that's supposed to be filmed in an earlier day that it's not using like the 3x4, which is the way it would display. So
yeah,
anytime they use the
they did
camera,
it. Yeah,
they did it correctly. And I was a little bit concerned when it went right to that opening shot when you see the frog man just for a second. And then it went right to that shot of the YouTuber. And I was like, oh, is this gonna be a you? Not that I have a problem with the YouTuber movie. I actually like them when they're done right, but for some reason this movie, based on the premise and just the feel I got in the beginning, I was hoping it wasn't going to be that kind of movie. I was hoping it was going to be the kind of movie that it was, but with a little more. It's short. Maybe they could
yeah.
have spent a little more time on some things. I actually am okay with the character stuff, which you don't always see,
Well,
which
yeah,
isn't,
they actually did a good job. Like
yeah,
the trifecta factor and the past
yeah,
relationship,
it
it
worked.
worked well. It worked well enough.
Yeah.
The murkiness was a little much. Like I figure, I mean, I get. See, what I like is that. So they open. There's a scene where they're on a family vacation, and they see this thing, and it's haunted them and stayed with them and whatever. But everybody has sort of called them out and saying it's a hoax. And this YouTube thing that you see is a good shift because it's
Right.
questioning his credibility, the main character's
Hmm.
credibility. And so then we show that it shows that he's watching it in a bit of a cop out that he's filming the screen and it turns the camera to him because remember it's a found footage movie. So then it films him saying, "Oh, fuck you, buddy," and getting mad at the YouTube guy, which I like, and then we're into his life. And
Yeah.
and we're getting into like a little bit that he hasn't really, you know, done much because he's been sort of obsessed with this and he wants to go back. He decides he wants to go back to find it out and use the camera that he caught the initial footage on. So I liked all
Yep.
that and getting them back in the
Hmm.
car and when they all went, all that kind of worked. I'm like, God, this is well done. I mean, well enough done. Again, you kind of have to let go that the camera's always on. Like I said, pulling out of the YouTube video and then he's filming himself. You just have to, you're in a found footage movie.
Well,
That's
yeah, and it's
the
a
reality of it.
documentary, and
Yeah,
he's documenting this. So he's saying, "You
true,
film everything.
true.
This I'm documenting this, and we'll cut what we need to cut, and we'll keep what we need to keep, and whatnot." But he's tried to make a couple of low budget horror movies that didn't go anywhere. And then he said, "Well, my next movie is actually going to be a straight up documentary about this. I was one of the people that saw it when I was a kid, and on top of it, I like what they're doing in the town. It's all tourism. You go and it's Frogman this and and everyone's trying to make a buck in the town and they have the hotel and they have the gift shop and come out here. This is where the infamous Frogman is. We're gonna sell you whistles. You blow this in the woods, you go in this section, they got a tour for it. So everybody's trying to make a buck on the local legend, which I kind of like. That's kind of cool, you know? And that's what happens. And then it kind of gets into this area. It almost reminds me for a little bit. Do you remember VHS 90? I'll say 94, and I could be wrong. When they have the Rat Man in that thing and they go in the sewer and Hail Rotma and all that stuff.
I feel like I blend 94, 99 together, and I don't even know
Everyone
if I
does, I
watched one of
think.
them. That's the
Oh.
problem. I'm not even sure if I've seen. I think I saw 99 for sure. I don't think I saw 94.
Oh, you really should see it. Okay. Then you know, well, at least for so you know what but it kind of reminded me of that first one where they have a rat man. This is a frog man, that was a rat man, and they go in and then kind of what
And
it
then there's
leads to.
Ragman in Trick or
Well,
Treat.
Ragman. That's true. We got Ragman, yeah. And now we got Baghead and a new Baghead movie, if you can
Yeah.
believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but it kind of goes along that way like Ratman does, where all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute. They just drop subtly something about, oh yeah, there's all these different rumors. One of them says, yeah, I think there might be a cult involved with it. And like it kind of reminds me of course, Blair Witch, when they're talking to people in town
Yeah.
and everybody has like a different story of what it was, and some things are ridiculous. Some people believe it, some people think it's, nonsense, and everyone has,
What's that
and I
one
kind
guy
of
keeps
like
saying?
that.
There's that crazy guy that said like I can't.
Oh, he
Yeah,
can read minds. He
yeah,
can
he can
read
read
minds.
minds. He can read minds. And
Yeah,
then there's a mention of a cult, and they kind of forget about it and whatever. And like, it's not. It's not if you don't like found footage, this movie's not going to win you over. I don't think this is
true.
not going to be the one that's going to be like, there it is.
On my list.
It's very generic,
Right.
but it's watchable. It's
Yeah.
watchable. It's not like again. I don't know if I ever have to watch it again. You put it on. You added it to the official list. This one,
Who won official list?
your found footage list. Is that what you just said?
No, I said it's not going to make my
Oh,
list.
it's not
No,
going to
it's
make it.
not.
Okay, okay,
No,
good. That
it's
makes
not that
sense.
type of.
Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense. It's
But I like it.
watchable, but I was fine with it. But once it was over, again, I also thought it was cop out because there's a lot of things that are not explained. So they just put little title cards on that say, these two people were never seen again. This person was never seen again. So and so was never seen again. I think it was three of the pretty much, or no, the girl that he dated, they haven't seen in over a year. And then when we come out of it, we find out that it's a screening, which I actually kind of liked. The only downfall
Me
is the
too.
applause for the movie was a little heavy if it was the movie that we just watched.
True.
uh,
True.
but I liked that as
But
a way to
but
end
if
it.
it's real, but if they think it's real, then they probably would have a result like that.
Sure. I guess that's true as
It's
well.
it's like Blair Witch. It's like they're taking the Blair Witch approach, where yes, we do get credits at the end after, but they also have the fake credits and they also have the stuff at the end like this person wasn't seen or the guy and his
Well,
granddaughter he was and they were talking about that. So they do still take that approach, but then so I think they were kind of going for that.
it's not really a cop because everything we needed to. I said it was a cop up, but I'll take it back. It's just I guess everything we need to have seen, we've got enough information about, but it's because we have been introduced to these other characters, and then they went back. He's like, I gotta go find my daughter, that old guy. And then it was like, he
Yep.
was never seen again. They were never seen again. They're reported missing or whatever. But I guess that was just his way because his movie was done. And then we come out and then we're at like some, like, let's say we're at like Sundance or just a screening or whatever. And he gets introduced and we see that he's just sitting there. So now the movie's not found footage. Now the movie's
Right.
like we've come out of the found footage for this end portion and he's just sitting there and he can't he's being introduced and reintroduced and introduced again and he just won't budge and it's just weird because he's just sort of frozen there. I thought they were going to put on some sort of cap or jump scare, but I'm glad they didn't. They just it
Me too.
ends and then
Right.
the credits roll. I do like how the
No, but
credits were done in that old school camera font. That was that built-in camera font where you put in the
yep.
date and the time. It was
Yep.
those were the how the credits were done. I thought that was a cool
That's
touch as
it.
well.
Me too. Yeah. So that stuff was good. Yep. It's honestly, if they didn't have that one segment in the VHS movie, I would almost say this could have been a long short on a VHS if they trimmed it some and did some stuff in it. But they already had a similar one with the Rat Man, so that's probably where they kind of got the idea. But this goes deeper than that. The Rat Man was
Yeah.
just people in a tunnel, like homeless people. That it was discussed. You got to see it. Watch VHS 94. You'll like it. It's worth
Yeah,
a
I'll watch it
watch.
just
So
because I thought I'd seen them all, but I'm like, you know what? I think I was like, I'm just not in the mood to watch it or something like that. And I feel like because I know I watched
yeah,
99 and I loved 85. So yeah, I just have to
yeah.
go back. They all start blending together after a while. But
Uh-huh.
no,
I get
it's
that.
Frogman, if you're a found footage enthusiast, definitely check it out. Like I said, it's not going to win you over if you're not a fan of found footage. The jump scares are kind of calculated, so they kind of fell flat. And that's the other reason I don't think I elevate this any higher. Everything just seems like it's trying but not succeeding at not that I expect to be scared, but if it's a jump scare, you kind of hope that it would work. And
Right.
I don't think any of them do. I say a mild rumble.
Um. Yeah, I would probably say that too. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I don't regret my time with it,
No,
and that's the important part. So, check it out. I mean, we were just saying that we're off to a slow start, but it's getting better. But check it out if you see it. I mean, I think it's like $5 to rent, so I don't know.
yeah,
Whatever. Maybe wait till it's free or something. But it's worth checking out. But I gotta keep up on the. There's another found footage movie that's recent that I gotta see. There's another one I've been hearing a little bit of buzz about, so I gotta get on that too. But Life of Bell has been
well,
the
that was the
star
other
of
one
the
I
show.
watched that I didn't talk about, and that one I enjoyed more overall, even though it's kind
Right.
of like literally less happens in that movie, kind of
Oh
like
yeah, different
overall,
type.
but
Yep.
it works. It just works the way it's presented. In this one, there's more happening. Like again, I do give it credit for setup, catalyst, getting everybody there, but then there's this chunk in the middle that just feels too familiar in Frogman that you just can't
Yeah.
that I just can't let go. But you're right. I think Life of Bell is definitely the contender for found footage movie of the year so far.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, so I'm just glad we're still getting them. We're still getting a lot of them, so I'm happy about it. So there you go. I'm gonna take
Awesome.
some NyQuil or something.
Well, we're
All this
done, so you
talking,
can like cool out. Yeah, I know.
all this talking, and now my throat hurts. I didn't have any problem with my throat and did the show, and now I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't be talking so much. Sons of bitches.
Well, let's get the fuck out of Dodge then.
Well, thanks for bearing with us, everybody. We love you,
Yeah.
and I don't know what
Yeah.
the hell we're doing next, but
Yeah. Well, we'll
whatever.
figure it out. Monty Chi, and good
Yeah,
night.
yeah.